Yo, yo, yo. Love that angle of you, soy pill.
Yeah, is it good? I learned it from watching you. You're always so zoomed in, and I was like, in my new place, I just moved, and I found out how to zoom in on my camera. It's great.
Hold on,
That was
turn
a
that
move.
move that camera around. I want to see what you did with your feng shui.
Oh, no. There's a big pile of garbage just on the other side of this. So,
Yeah, well, that situation is better than
oh yeah, no,
the
because
other
you
thing that you had going.
remember how you were like, oh, the dresser is blocking the closet.
Yeah, let's
Check
fucking
check this out. I
there
don't
you
know
go,
if you can see it.
totally unimpeded.
It's in. You can't see, but
Damn.
it's in the closet. The dresser's hidden away, so now I'm no longer a college student. I'm
You're
in
a
Just
big
like
boy
Hutch is
now.
in the closet because he's just trying to see your ass.
Whoa!
JK,
Welcome,
JK.
everybody's here. Awesome. Well, guys, welcome to Live and Learn, the only politics show that lies to you only 30% of the time. I am one of your hosts, the Soy Pill. With me, as always, is the flyest white guy, IRI. Hutch, the only gamer who doesn't say slurs. Pisco Liddy, the man who loves titties. And PrimeCayes, our special guest today. Hello,
Yo,
PrimeCayes.
Prime. How we doing?
Hello, hey, nice to
Yo.
see you all. Nice as haven't talked to IRA in a long
Yeah.
time.
What's up,
I hope
buddy?
you're doing
Nice to
well.
see you.
Oh my God, is there
Yeah.
ancient lore? Are you guys old argue mates or argue against
We've known
each
each
other?
other
Of
for
course.
years. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh.
as long as you have a 1% difference of opinion, right? Well, I mean, your argue buddies on Twitch. But no, IRI has always been quite stand-up person. Always enjoy talking to him.
All right.
It's
right
so
on.
good to have you right before the great day of election day tomorrow.
Ooh.
I mean, this will be a very interesting to get your take on stuff. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for being so kind as to invite me. I appreciate that.
Those
Yeah.
polls are kind of tightening, though. I don't know.
Are they?
A little
Are
bit.
they? Which polls?
Yeah. Well, there was a poll that came out that I just saw a moment ago that had just like a 4 or 5 point difference, and I don't know. I think Cuomo has in the aggregate like tightened the race a little bit, but I think the average is probably like 7-8 point lead at this point.
I mean, that's the case for any like election, right? Like the polls tighten near the end. I mean, that's when people are actually paying attention. Like there are people who have who've had no idea about this race until like the last 3 days.
That's
So,
true. Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background there, Prime? Since I think you and I are both or I think everyone here is rooting for Mamdani, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about your political background and why you're so excited to see his what looks to be.
Please go. I'm firmly on the sex offender train. Okay, that's like
Some
my
of the
one
memes are-
policy.
What?
It's one policy issue. I always vote for whoever diddled the most people. So
So do you think anyone here supports Cuomo?
No. I know. That's why I corrected
cool
and said
guys.
everyone on this
Cuomo.
panel, but especially you, Prime, because this must be like a really like I don't know, a very exciting moment for you, because you not only are you just like supporting Mamdani because he's a Democratic candidate, because it's exciting, but because in terms of like ideology, there's a lot of overlap there, right?
yeah, certainly. I consider myself a socialist, but it's I don't what I expect out of Mamdani isn't necessarily some sort of socialist revolution, right? Like I don't expect him to do the things that I would want to do, right? And to like cordon off like Wall Street, like set up like an embargo on like the physical Wall Street, right? And fire cannons into it. No, he's not gonna do anything like that. But it's like giving, and this is always risky, right? But like still giving leftists actual an ability to shine, right? An actual ability to govern. He's coming in with a popular platform, so popular that he's cucking the governor, right? She's coming to him, to his rallies, trying to get some of his shine, right? And then getting booed by the audience, which is great, right? And pretending, oh, she didn't hear it. He is has captured the popular, the attention of the nation, right? So much so that like other important races, have gone to the background. Everyone's focusing on Mamdani. So I like that. I'm also terrified, right? Assuming he wins, right? I'm terrified that the forces that are arrayed against him will, during his period, be able to completely stymie and destroy his candidacy, or not candidacy, his time in office,
Mayoralty.
right? Yeah, his mayoralty. There, thank you. His
I don't know
mayoralty.
what.
Sure. But and then like that'll be an example of failure, right? And so what it'll play out as, right, in such a scenario is that, oh, okay, well, when leftists are in office, right, like this ends in failure, so we shouldn't bother, right? Meanwhile, corporate Democrats have been in power, right? Forever, right? For even like talking about modern history, for like the last 40 years, right? And had endless failures, but those aren't counted against them. So like once you take power, last thing I'll say, once you take power, like that's a risk, right? Because then it can be held accountable, right? You can't
Yeah.
you're not just from the
Well,
outside
I-
throwing
His
barbs
whole,
in.
his whole tenure will be a mandate on, Dem socks and the far left progressive politics. In
Yep.
the same way that, like, as soon as we let women like own businesses, every time one fails, it's like, see, they can't
No,
do it.
but
And
that's
it's
why I'm
like,
curious. Wait, that's why I'm curious. And why I want the first question, because you said something there that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. As someone who endorsed Mamdani during the primary and who wants him to win, you said, "Oh, it was so great when Kathy Hochul came out and she got booed." Like Mamdani's success is going to. I think it's a good thing if more institutional Democrats are willing to work with Mamdani, given the benefit of the doubt. I've been on this podcast. I don't know if you're aware, like heavily advocating for this cooperation between more moderate centrist Democrats and like endorsing Mamdani, that kind of stuff. And so when I hear you be like, "Oh, it's so good that Kathy Hochul got booed," this is someone who wanted to primary Kathy Hochul for her weakness on Mayor Adams and stuff. But to the extent that Kathy Hochul is necessary for Mamdani's success and for the Democrat success and for exciting the base, etc., don't you want her on the team?
No, I absolutely do. I want her to bend the knee, and that's what she's doing. And so like that excites me. I'm saying, right? I think it's hilarious that she's on the back. That's what I meant by that. Not that I don't want her on a team, right? I think it's hilarious that it's shown that she's on the back foot, that she's not popular, right? And that she needs Mamdani more than, well, I won't say more than he needs her, because he does, like as you just said, right? Like he requires her to, like, for the mechanics of like getting his policies through. But I guess maybe they're more on an equal footing. I'll leave it there, right? With like the energy and excitement he brings in, right, and simply the status and power that she currently has now. But yes, of course, I want her to do as he says, do as he desires, really.
and I don't want to prime you to grill you too much, Prime, but I'm a
Please
little
do.
hesitant of the narrative of the powers that be. There are people that don't want to see Mamdani succeed, but I'm hesitant of some of his policies, right? Like I'm not sold on rent control, but I do like a lot of his other stuff. Now, if some of these things don't work, if he does win, can we definitively say that, like, I don't want there to be this narrative of like someone sabotaged him? Like, what if, like, would you attribute any of his policies to not working because of what they are if they don't work?
I mean, depends on what we're talking about, right? Like, there can be a scenario where I'm saying, well, I would say, like, okay, well, he had a chance, right? He put in the policy that he intended to put in place, right? And then it failed spectacularly. Turns out this doesn't work, right? And yeah, I would lay that on his feet. And I'd say, as a left for people who have supported those policies, well, we need to go back to the drawing board.
Prime, when you
Wait, would you though, Prime? Would you though? Just to be real, or
Maybe
would you
not. I
say,
was
nah?
lying.
You
I
would
was lying.
come
That's
on.
true.
I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just saying that I'm still like the excuses would be made, saying, "Oh, he was undermined by this. He didn't really get to do what he wanted." I mean, don't you feel like people will say that on his behalf? Maybe
Absolutely.
not you personally.
Copium is a thing. Yeah. Copium is the absolute thing, right? But again, it depends, right? Because I think people on your side, IRI, right, will and I'm not putting this on you, right? I'm just saying people on your side of the spectrum here will absolutely do what they can to undermine this person and make some bad faith arguments, right? And again, not that like
Sure.
doesn't happen from other sides as well, right? But it's just how it'll shake out. So yeah, that's to be expected, right? People are going to craft a narrative, right? That's what we do in politics. We craft a narrative for the general audiences to understand. People who aren't following this, right? So that they can have our opinions on these things, right? Rather than any other opinion, right? So there's going to be a lot of money arrayed to craft a narrative, whether he's succeeding or not, right? Whether he's actually passing policies that are work or and that are received well by New Yorkers, right? There is going to be efforts to craft a narrative to say it was all a failure. It was all fair. So don't try it again, right? Certainly don't give him another shot, and don't spread this to other cities.
Well, let me just say, and I'll pass the mic here a sec. I just want to say, I hope he succeeds. He's got a D next to his name. He's going to be a Democrat, so I don't want to see any Democrat fail. So I'm really rooting for him, and you're not going to hear me criticizing him or trying to say he's bad or anything.
Yeah.
One thing that
I just want to say I'm not saying that you would be doing that.
One thing that we've talked a lot about on this podcast is like going to be his ability to deliver on his agenda. But Prime, do you worry that you're setting a standard that he just can't possibly meet? I feel like all four of us on the pod here, we have a pretty realistic sense that, he'll be able to do some things unilaterally, but he's going to need the legislature and the governor to do any kind of tax hikes. So that seems a bit sketchy, although she's indicated that she might be open to that kind of a thing. But he's just walking into this mayorship. What do we call it? The mayorship with
mayoralty, or whatever.
I think it's mayorship. Yeah.
With a lot of institutional opposition to his broader agenda. Should you really hold it against him if he can't sort of move mountains and deliver 100% of his legislative agenda or policy agenda?
No, not necessarily. I'm saying like. I don't feel like it's weird to say that I'm holding him to one possible standard. I think I'm being very realistic. I'm understanding that he has the entire, a lot of the institutional weight of the Democratic Party against him, and certainly all the Republican Party. He's
getting personal phone calls from Obama. I mean, he's, I understand he's divisive, but that's a pretty powerful show of support right there, right?
Oh, Obama called him. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I didn't say that.
Wait. What do you mean? That's Democratic royalty. That's Democratic royalty.
Sorry. First of all, I don't, and maybe my information is old because I haven't been following the race like every now and both. But did Obama endorse him? Has he campaigned for him?
I didn't hear that actually. No.
I don't know about endorsement,
but
he
called him then, right? He took up part of his valuable time. Oh, that's wonderful, right? I guess you should be grateful.
No,
Whatever.
but it's a sign. It's stopping short of an endorsement. I think what Hutch's point, and I think that that, right? Like, yes, and I think it's because I think that he should endorse.
I don't care. I don't care that
you don't care,
right? No, I don't care. Like I actually,
this is a Democratic socialist.
Pulling his weight behind him. That'd be one thing, right? To be put his weight behind him, but he's not actually doing that. You're saying he had a conversation. Great. Like, what am I supposed to do, right? Am I supposed to go?
It was a private conversation where Obama relayed that he found Mamdani's campaign to be inspiring. It's not an explicit public endorsement, but that's not nothing. And I feel like well, hold on, just real quick. Let me
fell from the heavens. I feel like
made a call. Wait, hold on. Let me finish.
Let Hutch finish real quick.
I feel like someone in your position should not be so like allergic to that kind of power. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of like pushing that away.
What are you talking about? I mean,
but you're taking this like actively hostile kind of position when it comes to Hochul and Obama. But this is a guy that's a democratic socialist poised to become the mayor of the most populous city in the country. And so, and he's getting support from these like unlikely figures. And you're like,
that's not support.
Well, Prime, I think Prime. I think the idea is, yes, Obama didn't come out and be like, I'm fully behind Mamdani, which would be ideal, obviously, from that person in power. But for most mayoral races, if not all of them, Obama is not involved whatsoever. And by putting his name next to it,
he does going from the Democratic Party. Yeah, I know.
Well, I just think that it's at the very least above a positive or above a neutral, which is positive because you now have headlines of Obama attached to Mamdani. It's not as far as you'd like it to go, but it is helpful, I think.
Yes, just like Obamacare, right? I mean, it's something, right? Not as far as you like it to go, barely useful, but like, I mean, it's something, right? And so we give Obama a pass, right? Hey, he called, right? And so I guess leftists should sing his praises. Look, Obama, who has spent his time, right, outside of office doing Netflix documentaries, right? Like pretending to be above it all as the country burned around him, right? He's finally decided to step out and talk to someone.
I feel like
what am I expected to do with this?
I
I'll
feel
do
like
nothing with
people
it.
I feel like people with your attitude lend credence to the idea that the establishment should pivot to the center instead of trying to work with you guys. Because
Okay, that's nice.
we get
Whatever. Yes, I don't give a fuck.
Whoa,
Yeah,
you're not
starting
exactly
spicy.
you're not
Okay.
exactly incentivizing like a friendly coalition, are
care.
you?
I don't care
Well, what's your
about
goal?
I don't well hold on. My goal is to increase human flourishing, right? And I think to do that would require leftist positions.
It would require power, right?
It certainly does require power,
Okay.
but that certainly doesn't require groveling. That certainly doesn't require suddenly
Who said anything
getting
about
amnesia.
groveling?
It doesn't require getting amnesia about like the past 20 years, right? Like misremembering the Obama years and misremembering his post presidency, and all of a sudden being ecstatic that he gave a phone call.
Oh yeah, but
Wow,
Prime,
without
Prime,
actually
Prime,
putting
no one's
any
asking you
actual
though.
institutional weight behind it.
Well, yeah, but
Wait,
Prime, no one's asking you to be like, oh,
What
you
are you
know,
asking me for then?
thank you, God King Obama, for taking 10 minutes out of your day. It's more of just like acknowledging, like, oh, this is good for Mamdani. He's getting former presidential recognition. This will catapult him into a higher tier. It's not like the difference between winning or losing, and an endorsement would
Okay.
obviously be more desired. No one's asking you to say thank you to Obama. It's just
Well, then
hey, this is a good
then I
thing.
agree. Well, then, okay, fine. Then I can give you this. If that's all you're asking, right? Well, here's what I'll do, right? I think Soy said previously, or maybe it was Pisco. Whether this is, on the scale of bad, neutral, or positive, right? It's slightly past neutral into positive. Hooray! I thank you for more crumbs, President Obama.
I want to get to something and meet Prime a little bit halfway, which is there have been legitimate criticisms, I think, of Obama's post-electoral victory behavior, including him dropping off the map after his first election win and not really doing anything with the grassroots coalitions that he had built from an electoral
He
perspective.
actively dismantled
And
it. He dismantled Obama for America, right? That's what happened.
And then also in Trump's first term, being conspicuously quiet. I know that was like a norm or whatever that other presidents did somewhat. I mean, I don't even think it was a fully consistent norm. There were other former presidents that were incredibly vocal in American history. And so, and by the way, this is not just a lefty critique. People like our favorite person to talk about, Ezra Klein, have said similar things on their show. It's about Obama and that coalition dropping the ball, and maybe not being in sync with some of the rest of the famously not in sync with Biden himself, not in sync with Kamala Harris, and seemingly having his own view of how the party should go, but also like not intruding. So, folks, what do you think about Obama? Do you think there's anything to Prime's critique here, at least from a non-leftist perspective?
Well, I mean, when you compare him to previous presidents of decades prior, he's certainly broken precedent with how much he's been like vocal. You could argue that he could have done more in the era of Trump, and I might agree with you, but he's definitely much more present when it comes to like stumping for Democrats than you saw from previous presidents. Like how many candidates did like George W. Bush stump for after he kind of
Jeb.
Same with like H.W. Bush, Carter, like even Reagan. Like I don't know how alive he stayed. When did he die? In the 90s?
He died in 2005, I think, right?
I mean, but by the time of his second term, he was already kind of like, having the worm tongue wife, astrologying her way.
No, the astrology thing is
politics.
true. That's true, but the dementia stuff happened, I think, later after his term. But yes, the astrology wife thing is absolutely true.
I just, I want a Democratic Party that is strong enough to take on the Republican Party right now. And I would love nothing more than to have this party be like a big tent that would allow for people like you, Prime, and also people like IRI. But the way that you speak, it doesn't seem like you're interested in the same thing. You want a more homogenous kind of. Are you trying to take over the Democratic Party or like what?
Well, I'm certainly trying to take over the Democratic Party. I want more of the power to be in the leftist hands rather than corporate Democrats' hands. However, it doesn't mean that like I would throw IRI out, right? IRI. I mean, first of all, like look at him.
I don't get the wall.
He's a no. He doesn't hit the wall. Look at IRI, right? Like,
You got plenty of reading material there while you're
a
waiting.
face like that, right? No, IRI gets to stay, right?
Thank you.
And like, I don't demand that everyone agrees with me. I love that people disagree with me. Like, that's fantastic. I love these conversations. I love arguing with my friend Pisco here. It's so enjoyable. But I think that adds to the party, right? I think, and I mean this so deeply, right? I am grateful to my right-wing friends, right, and my liberal friends, right, for arguing against me. I've seen spaces, leftist spaces where like they like cloister themselves and just talk to themselves and they just come up with ideas that are never tested, right? A lot of nonsense comes out of that, right? I appreciate testing my ideas, my arguments, all of that against you all, right? And then I adjust, and I try to get better. Actually, and I hope the same thing for you. I hope you adjust when we have these conversations, these debates, so we can all sharpen ourselves, right? So yes, I deeply, sincerely want ideological diversity. However, when we're talking about power, when you're talking about like who has power in the Democratic Party, no, I want the power.
But the thing is, like, the substance of Hutch's question, I think, relates to, like, look at the election right now. You have very different Democrats running in different places. Spanberger in Virginia, much more like standard road Democrat, moderate on several issues, explicitly critical of Mamdani. And you have in Gavin Newsom, a kind of, I don't know, hybrid in terms of like very left wing policies, but also more practical. And you have Mamdani, and I think the essence of what Hutch's question is getting at is he genuinely is willing to accept in good faith and be like, oh, great, Mamdani won. Are you going to be happy if Abigail Spanberger wins in Virginia? Are you going to be happy if, like, I don't know, let's say Josh Shapiro wins in Pennsylvania? Or if, if Gavin Newsom runs for re-election or something in California, would you be happy that they win? In the spirit that Hutch is, I think, genuinely happy that Mamdani would win.
I vote for corporate Democrats all the time. That's all my choices have been growing up, right? Is voting for a corporate Democrat. I have a corporate Democrat, like a House representative in my district, right? Total backbenchers, done nothing. If I told you their name, you'd have to. These political junkies would have to look them up. They have no idea who this person is, right? But yeah, I'll vote for him again. I voted for someone else in the primary against them previously because they were super interesting. But they got crushed, which was expected. But like, yeah, I'll vote for that corporate Democrat. Like, and I can understand that. Again, we need people of all types for different areas of the country, right? I can understand that my ideas don't necessarily resonate everywhere, and so we should be putting people in front of them. In front of those audiences who have a better chance, right? But that also doesn't mean that we necessarily have to accept everything. That we should have some level of standards. And I think my standards might be different from your standards, but we can argue about that later.
No, it's not about standards. It's about like the tone. It's just a very you're talking about you're talking about
I love that.
I'm literally tone policing here. No, but you're talking about like Hochul like coming in there and bending the knee.
Absolutely.
That's just an interesting way to phrase that, don't you think? I mean, I feel like
it's a fun way, a colorful way of engaging the audience,
but it doesn't really
by referencing populism.
If a centrist talked to you that way, if Hutch talked to you that way, if it roles were reversed, like, yeah, Bernie Sanders bend the knee.
Yeah,
no, but like the thing is, if after the primary, you had caught Hutch saying something like, yeah, you Bernie bros, now bend the knee to Biden or something. Because, by the way, some people did say this.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
I understand, but you didn't take it in a positive way. That wasn't.
I'm not asking Hochul or you all to take it in a positive way. Take it in a negative way. Go ahead. Don't care.
No, but I'm trying to make an observation.
I'm just like expressing myself.
I keep getting cut off.
To be fair, you cut him off too. But go ahead.
No, he cut me off when I was talking.
It's okay.
All cut each other off here.
I feel like the tone is kind of like it's wildly out of step with the reality. Like the reality is you got this guy, and it's true. He is an exciting candidate, and I've been a great admirer of his campaign and the way that he's just evolved. And I look at him and I get excited. But this is a guy with like 55% of the New York City voter base are going to probably choose him in the upcoming election. And it feels like you're doing the thing that I see a lot of lefties doing, which is you're treating Mamdani as though he's this like herald of a political revolution. And the reality is it's like he's, got kind of like middling popularity for a New York City mayor. And someone like Hochul's in a much stronger position than he is, quite frankly.
Well, wait, Prime, before you
So-
respond, Hutch, I got to turn the question around that I already asked Prime, which is if Mamdani gets into office and everything goes really fucking well, every single policy is just like, wow, like all the things the progressives have been calling for, then would you kind of start to shift over of, oh, maybe we should move more towards like a populist progressive for not every Democrat, obviously, but more of the already on the left wing should push a little harder. Democrats.
It's a case by case, just like what Prime said. I don't know if he applied it in the same way, but it's a case by case. So if there's a progressive that's thriving and, you know, another like D plus 30 city or whatever, or D plus 30 district, then yeah, sure. Of course. Like I'm not picky. That's the point. I'm not ideologically picky right now. I don't think that really matters right now, to be honest with you. Policy discussions and ideology take a backseat for me right now in the era of MAGA to just beating Republicans. You laugh, but look at Trump 2.0, bro.
Well, I know the threat of Trump, right? And so we should have no standards, I guess, right? Policy doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter
That
what
is
we replace
not
it
what
with.
I said. It's not what I said.
Oh, then okay. So I don't want to be bad faith. I'm not trying to be bad faith. I'm trying to engage with you. Yeah, okay, right? So maybe I misunderstood you. But what you just told me was that policy doesn't matter in this age, right? It's just about beating Trump, right? And what that sounds like
it's not that it doesn't matter. I said it takes a backseat.
You can correct me in just a second, right? But what it sounds like to me is that saying, well, as long as they have a D in front of their name, right? Well, that's good enough. Let's replace them as many R's with D's, and it makes no difference on what they bring to the table.
It's up to the individual voters of each state and district that choose their primary winner. That's the point. So if the voters in a conservative district choose a more moderate candidate, great, I'm on board. And if they stand a better chance to beat a Republican in that district, awesome, great. And the same thing goes for progressives. Like that's where I'm at with things. I'm talking about like an actual coalition instead of what you're talking about, which is just this kind of delusional fantasy that there's going to be this leftist takeover of the party.
So,
and it's not really like based on anything right now.
So you've been putting words in my mouth like this entire time, right? I haven't said anything about that some sort of leftist revolution was about to happen, right? I just said, hey, like we got one person in and I'm nervous about it because, you know, when you're actually given a chance to govern, then you can be held accountable for it. That's all I've said so far. I didn't say anything else, right? And so this is why I'm trying to understand you, right? And what you actually mean. So like it doesn't if we have a coalition, an example, just talking about like the Senate, just to narrow it down a bit, we have like a 51-49 advantage in the Senate, but like we have another Manchin, another Sinema, and maybe others as well who like sabotage the Democrats, right? In the most crucial of moments, to the point that they like these things reverberate into the future because like we didn't get crucial legislation through, and we weren't actually able to deliver on our promises while being in power, right? You'd say that's fine, right? Because at least we have a D. It's a Democratic Senate rather than a Republican Senate.
You understand that Biden was legislatively like the most accomplished president basically of the modern era, right? And he did that specifically because Manchin was serving in West Virginia. I mean, I think like the question would be like, do you envision a progressive challenger coming in and actually making the kind of like winning the kind of election that Manchin did? Could you replace him with a progressive? Is my point. Or my question.
I've literally already acknowledged previously that you couldn't. We should have people in place who can speak to those audiences as best we can. However, I say we have to have standards. No, I wouldn't say Manchin's was a good idea because Manchin actively sabotaged the Democrats. And
well, he voted for Biden's agenda and his judges the overwhelming majority of the time. But like you understand that without a majority, you can't get any judges or legislation.
Oh, yes, I understand that. Don't worry. You don't have to condescend to me. I get it. Yeah.
Well, the way you talk makes me question that because you're saying it was a bad thing that he was serving there, right?
Let me just interrupt. A quick pause. Simmer it down, Hutch. I do feel that a lot of the things being levied at Prime right now are 90% dumber progressives that I've seen on Twitter. I haven't heard Prime say these things yet. So
no. Wait, no, hang on. He just said that it was a bad thing that Manchin was serving in West Virginia.
I think what he's saying is that people like Manchin can sabotage an otherwise better agenda, which is true, and why Trump was someone who thanked Manchin for a lot of what he did, even though Manchin was instrumental in getting a lot of Biden's stuff passed as well. we would prefer to have someone better. If he's the best we can get, sure, that's great. We don't want a Republican there.
But you're glossing over that. Like, if he's the best we can get, then we should welcome that, right?
Welcome it, sure, but
Yeah.
not be like
He disagrees.
satisfied
Prime
with it.
disagrees. That's my point. He doesn't want to welcome that, right?
So I don't know. Okay, it depends on what you mean by welcome, and I'm not trying to dodge the question. I promise you. I'm just trying to work out what we're saying here. Like I wouldn't take away his Senate seat, right? Like, hey, like you've come in, like people voted you in, right? And I wouldn't say like, okay, now because he doesn't agree with me ideologically, the Senate should like somehow toss him out, right? I'm not saying anything like that. But like what the conversation started was that you specifically said, in terms of your view of like
Coalitions.
like the coalition and the larger battle, right? That it doesn't matter at all who comes in, right? So like I'll turn it back on you, right? Like if instead we had a whole list of Democrats who won, who were like pro-segregationists, you'd say like, well, I welcome them within the party, right? They have a D in front of their name, not an R, and so thank you. Like, please let's fill up with pro-segregationists. You're welcome here.
I mean, we'd be going back to the Democratic Party of 5 or 6 decades ago, right?
Sorry, that didn't answer my question. Would you welcome?
Oh, the answer is probably yes. Yeah,
means?
in that context, that wouldn't you rather have the New Deal and Great Society stuff than not? Prime?
Sorry, sorry, stop trying to dodge the question.
Wait, isn't the answer yes?
I'm not.
No, hold on. No, it's
I'm
not. Hold on, we're not time traveling because he's like, oh, now we're going back in time. No, we're not doing that. I'm saying, hey, like for 2025, right, or into 2026, we have brand new pro-segregationists coming into the Democratic Party. Would you welcome them because they have a D in front of their name instead of R? He says no. Pisco says no. Hutch, what about you?
Maybe. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Yeah. So that's a difference of opinion here, right? Like I'm against segregationists no matter what decade it is.
Well, do you? I mean, I don't want to get hung up too much. We can move on to the next topic. But like, do you think that Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes.
Okay. And
Well, Hutch, let me clear it up, right? Because Hutch, the reason you would say yes.
My stuff, but go ahead.
Okay, but tell me if I'm wrong, Hutch. The reason you would ever say yes to a pro-segregationist Democrat is because what's on the other side is now the right has moved so far, even past segregation of, we're doing segregation and a lot more worse stuff, right? Right now, everything the same, but you would welcome a segregationist Democrat?
Say that question again. I'm not
right now. Every policy on the right remains the same. I do think this is like we're fascist, treading into fascism, but they haven't, said they're going to bring back segregation yet. They're teasing the idea of miscegenation, revisiting that.
But we're talking about fascism, right? Like when we talk about fascism, we should get into the specifics, right? What does that actually look like?
Right. But if the Democrats are pro-segregationists, that's worse than the current right-wing party.
You're saying that if we had, like, for example, like thankfully there are no emerging segregationist Democrats. I'm happy to entertain your hypothetical, but even if we were to do this hypothetical,
Ridiculous.
Like you're saying that, like, let's say like 1 or 2 like segregationist Democrats emerge and all of a sudden they were competitive in like fucking Nebraska or Missouri. You're saying that us adding that to like get a Senate majority would be worse than the MAGA movement right now? In terms of like,
I think it would be. I think it would make the. So if I believed empirically it would help stop Trump, I would encourage you to vote for them. But we just have a different thought process on the empirics. So the empirics are that I think, and I think Soypil is convinced that allowing segregationists into the Democratic Party would like hurt mid to long term results in the brand of the Democrats, such that it would worsen our chances.
I mean, do you guys understand that like black civil rights leaders, when they were, deciding who they wanted to endorse when FDR was running, they endorsed him even though he opposed an anti-lynching legislation. And even though a third of the Democratic caucus were segregationists and Dixiecrats, because their concern was fascism was rising. And yet we have a conversation these days about like Donald Trump is a fascist threat. I
understand, Hutch, but this might be a good segue into another thing we were going to talk about, which Prime and I talked about last week, which is the amount of, I think you and I agree, displeasure and shade thrown at Platner for a Nazi tattoo. But if he was a pro-segregationist and was polling better than Susan Collins, would you not have the same shade?
Hutch. Oh no.
No. If Platner advances past this primary, I will tell my viewers to vote for him in Maine.
Yeah.
This is a primary. This is a discussion during a primary. That's a
Okay.
huge
And I guess the idea is in the primary, I doubt that the pro-segregationist is going to win over any of these other candidates. So the hypothetical silly because we wouldn't get that far.
Yeah, I doubt it.
No, I'm sorry, but no, this is important to we're testing, right? His morals, his axioms, right? We're testing that. He's saying that, like, yes, pro-segregationists are welcome, however he defines that, right? Welcome in the party just because they have a D in front of their name instead of an R in front of their name, right? Like that's like the essence. Like it literally doesn't matter what it is, right? And then he tries to bring in. That's exactly what he said. And then he does this copium, right? Like trying to defend himself, like the nonsense that he just said in front of everyone here, right? Talking about, yeah, I mean, I guess your segregationists would be fine, right? And he has to like bring up like black civil rights, right? Like people operating in a different decade, right? Under like a literal state violence at the time, right? Like looking at a candidate who they could work with to overcome that segregation, right? Using the best political vehicle that they had at the time to
they made compromises.
You're saying
they made compromises.
And you're saying that within this decade, though, right? Like as it now,
you brought up segregationists.
Yes, I obviously did.
To make
obviously, I did.
To do an extreme hypothetical.
Yeah, whatever. Hutch,
yeah, but you agreed to the extreme hypothetical.
Yeah, you agreed to the hypothetical. We were talking about the hypothetical, and
that's
so Soypill did a good job of drawing this out, saying, "Hey, like
I'm very open about like how I work.
Exactly the way it was now.
You didn't like make something out of me. I talk about this all the time.
But we just had segregationists within our party. You'd say that's fine, right? Even today." Even if we don't have to make those.
If it meant, let me just ask you, like, if it meant taking away the Senate majority from Republicans, would you be okay with it or no?
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't be okay with segregation.
Prime, this is just the Kamala conversation over again.
I know it is, right? Yeah.
So this is Hutch's point. So I don't think Hutch is saying we should actively encourage Democrats to be segregationists or we welcome the open arms.
No.
I think he's just repackaging in response to your question a version of.
Didn't say that.
Okay,
I know he didn't say that.
I think he's repackaging
honest.
A version of the trolley problem where he's saying like I find fascism to be less desirable than Jim Crow segregation. Do you agree with that, Prime?
Jim Crow segregation? You mean like?
Do you agree with that, Prime?
I don't know how that's even different. That's another. It was just another form of fascism within the American society, right? We don't call it fascism, right, when we're thinking about this, but like massive state violence against that minority. Yeah, that's part of the fascist.
But I think the way you framed it,
that's what it is. But it's like, hey, as long as there are fascists, right, according to Hutch, as long as there are fascists, then yeah, welcome them in. As long as we have a D in front of it. So let me change it slightly, right? Let me do it again. Hey, if they are avowed fascists, but they have a D in front of their name, would you welcome them, Hutch?
If it gave us the majority, yeah.
So it doesn't matter. You see, this is why I'm testing.
Add something to that.
But here is the difference. The difference is by welcoming like one or two people that have extreme positions. The way you framed it, Pisco, was not correct. You were saying like it's either like fascism versus like Jim Crow. The difference is there would be no risk of like Jim Crow laws being enacted in the Congress at that time. And if we allowed like someone who was like avowed fascist, like one person, there would be no risk of like fascist like codified law as a result of this.
There's an additional thing that what you're saying is assuming it would have a good result, right? Which I think is the core thing. Assuming that welcoming these people would produce a less risk or okay. But that's where I think Soypill and I diverge from you in the current, where the context is different, I think, back in the 40s and 60s versus now, where that kind of empirical case about whether it makes sense in the medium and long term to make these kinds of coalitions where it starts to break apart. But I think there's a on point like example of this currently in Virginia, Jay Jones. Everyone here, I think, finds the comments made by Jay Jones about like killing, or I don't know what he said, like the death of
kids, killing kids. Yeah.
We all find that reprehensible. I want commitments from everybody. You guys all endorse Jay Jones for Attorney General of Virginia, don't you?
Yep.
Yes. I'm a little on the fence about it, honestly.
On the fence. And why is that?
It's the same thing actually with the Graham Platner stuff, where I'm like, okay, if this is the stuff you're saying in private, like I don't know how I feel about you being in charge of a lot, let alone anything. Now, granted, There's not really a better choice right now. But in the same way, Obama might give Mamdani a phone call. I can say, look, I'm not going to be upset if he wins, but damn if I don't want to put my weight behind him.
So,
I would
what
vote-
objection do you have against like Prime? And Prime's like, okay, if this is how Kamala deals with the genocide in Israel, hang on. So the private comments of Jay Jones is enough to be like, I might not vote for him for Attorney General of Virginia, even if they're horrible like that.
Sure, and I guess the difference would be the scale of the consequences of him losing. Now, if you were to give me a good case over to why Jay Jones losing would be detrimental on a massive scale in Virginia, I'd say, yeah, whatever. I guess we can ignore this. But again, this is just like welcoming a segregationist into your party. While I can completely understand Hutch's like, yeah, obviously, if accepting two people who are not going to, pass major legislation to stop the fascist party is like the alternative, like that makes sense. But what are the downstream effects of welcoming this into your coalition? And like, how does that make you look? Does it reduce turnout?
Wait, you don't think having a Republican as the Attorney General is bad?
No, I obviously
in the state of Virginia, like that's bad. The guy apologized for his comments, some text messages between him and a colleague a couple years ago, and you're willing to risk getting a Republican Attorney General in one of the most pivotal states in the union? Really?
It's not about like I'm risking it. I guess you'd have to kind of lay out for me again. This is not something I'm super.
Why not get 100% behind him though? He's the Democrat. Like the Republican is 1,000 times worse. Like
I'm like 80. I'm like 80%
pussyfoot around it at all.
Because it's like, what am I willing to say? Yes, I will endorse this no matter what. And if
you're acting like this is dog catcher in the local community. This is Attorney General of the state of Virginia. It's a huge deal.
Sure. So lay out for me, Ara, like what would happen with a Republican Attorney General if Jay Jones were to lose?
Well, you wouldn't see lawsuits on behalf of the state trying to fight for funding from the Trump administration, for example. There could be
the government.
Yeah, like they
going after criminals in Virginia in the Commonwealth, where like sometimes we can't count on the federal government to go after criminals, and so we have to rely on like state analog statutes to the extent that there's overlapping spheres of jurisdiction,
like
for some of these,
like Alvin Bragg. Yeah, like Alvin Bragg did.
I guess we're in a weird moment where the ability for the Republicans to paint Democrats as literal demons to their entire party is kind of unprecedented. And so I'm stuck between 10 years ago politics, where I look at this and say, I don't know how I feel about endorsing this person. And then at the same time, I guess it doesn't really matter, because the worst thing that could possibly, have downstream effects on us because of some bad comments or behavior doesn't matter, because they already think that. So if I was on the fence, I lean more towards, obviously I'd throw my support, but 100% is a little harder for me. Hutch said 80. Can I say 75?
Now you sound like fucking Hakeem Jeffries or Obama with your phone call.
Let's flip the incentive here, okay? Like, would you guys vote for a segregationist in your state if it meant getting single payer healthcare?
Oh my God!
I'm not engaging with your segregationist.
What? Wait, hold on.
If I knew it would have the result,
that's and ridiculous. It's like
I'll answer.
I endorse a serial murderer if they were the Democratic nominee.
Let's do that. Literally, a convicted murderer. Would you vote for a convicted murderer who was pardoned by Donald Trump if it meant single payer healthcare? If you knew for sure that you would get single payer healthcare,
and there were no other like mid to long term negative effects that I could calculate,
some kind of single payer.
Just one Senate vote. It's just one crucial Senate vote. Okay, right? One crucial Senate vote. So the guy can't like unilaterally go and fucking do a bunch of shit. But you knew you'd get single payer.
He supports serial murder. Like he's not sorry about it or whatever. Like he's actually advocating for serial murder.
Privately,
I can't believe you guys even have to think about this, man. It's single payer.
I'm trying to understand your idea.
Well, here, Hutch, I think that
because the segregationist would be promoting segregation.
Let's get away from segregation. Let's just get away from segregation.
Like playing ball with like the entire identity of someone. Like, hey, every single minority in this country, we might throw you under the bus potentially, or we might get on the board to the road to doing that. We're not doing it today. We're not doing it a year from now. But just so you know, we're going to welcome these people in just for this one thing. It's a silly hypothetical, because I don't think like there ever is going to be this dichotomy. And the same
you're fighting it. Wait, just to say, you're fighting the empirical case that he's laying out in the hypothetical. You're fighting the hypothetical. Our response is, we think that accepting these people into the fold would have negative downstream effects that aren't
Yeah.
so that we would say
Like,
no. And
without
so
those, I would say yes. Without
Yeah.
those downstream effects, I do think those exist, and it's reminds me of those stupid AI prompts. Like, oh, I asked it if a nuke was going to explode, but if I screamed the N-word, it would stop. It wouldn't do it, and it's like, yeah, okay, but this is never going to happen. All right, this is very silly, and to get upset at people for not screaming slurs is kind of ridiculous in the hypothetical itself because that's not really what's going on.
But I'm curious how Prime. I'm curious how Prime
would
would answer given what he asked Hutch.
I want to change it though. I want to change it though. Like, would you vote for a segregation if you knew that it would lead to a socialist revolution? Oh, he's thinking about it.
One only for white people? Like, I don't like.
No, for everybody.
Yeah,
your ideal socialist revolution.
No, I'm not. No, hold on. I'm saying that there is a minimum standard that I have that for candidates that they have to clear. If they're a fascist, and like Jim Crow was American fascism, then no, I'm not going to vote for them.
Okay,
I'm not going to vote for them.
Wait, hold on. Wait, can I just add like a couple more things to it? Like, what if you had advanced knowledge that your socialist friends would murder this man as soon as you did the socialist revolution? And then everybody gets socialism for minimum 200 years.
That's the bonus, is the murder. That's a sweetener for Prime.
All right, I think this will be the last hypothetical.
Come on, I just want to know the answer to that question.
No, no. Like what you're trying to do, right, is like you're saying, hey, the hypothetical that I created, right, I think is firmly within the bounds of like logic, right? Like, now we have to bring in like exotic technologies, right, so that we can know into the future what's going to happen, right?
You brought up the segregation.
No, hold on 1 second. No, hold on. I'll defend it, right? Because we have people within our party who defend genocide. They defend genocide right now. That's the thing that's happened, right? They defend
I'll throw in Palestinian statehood. I'll throw in Palestinian statehood.
They defend racial hierarchies, right, when they happen in other places.
I'll throw in a one-state solution.
And they continuously, within the current Democratic Party, they continuously ignore, right, and downgrade and exploit the Democratic, the black base, right? They come to us hat in hand, asking for our votes, right? But then when racial violence happens to us, and we say, hey, let's get a policy solution, right? But like the George Floyd policy, or the
Justice and Policing Act.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, right? That doesn't get passed, right? Like when the black people who are a crucial a part of the Democratic coalition, when they ask for policy solutions, they don't get it. Right, even though
I'm not asking about all that. I'm asking about this. Like,
I know you want to ignore all that, but I'm saying that like you are trying to there's a difference between the hypothetical that I gave you and the one that you're trying to give me, right? And even then, I can even work with your hypothetical. Still no, right? The still answer is no, right? So I'll say that, right? But then I'll go back to criticizing this and say that like we're looking at a Democratic Party that has shifted on workers' rights, abandoned workers.
I don't need this. Like,
no, I don't care. I'm not talking.
You're preaching on a soapbox here, bro.
I already gave. Then I will get on my soapbox. I'm going to actually make my statement. You're going to listen to it, right? So I don't give a fuck about that. So anyway, so we have a Democratic Party that has abandoned the working class, that has abandoned in the conversations the LGBT crowd, right? Because we don't want to be too woke. That continuously doesn't deliver for racial minorities, right? Like this party actually talking about like hey, being okay with segregation. I don't think that's so crazy. I think there's a point in time we can.
No, man, come on. You think it's so?
Well, I don't think it's so crazy. I think within
the modern Democratic Party would be advocating for segregation.
No. In America, not the party, but like there could be candidates who would actually do that, right? Like, well, hey,
viable candidates.
Hold on. If it's within a southern state, why not? Right, hon.
Well, we have candidates with Nazi tattoos, so sure.
Yeah, like there's indeed we do, right?
I'm just curious.
Hold on, one second. So,
of course you would.
I'm saying that, like, within the Democratic Party now, right? We don't have standards. We don't have standards, right? It's what Hutch wants, right? We have no standards within this party. You can be anti-abortion, right? You can be anti-LGBT. You can be anti just about everything. But you guys think that apparently being
How many Democrats
anti-black
in the entire
is
Congress
a
are
step too
pro-life?
far.
How many
You're
congressional
saying-
Democrats? How many congressional Democrats are pro-life in the entire Congress?
Hutch, what he's saying is what the argument that you're advocating for here is, and I kind of am sympathetic to this, is there is no limit to what a Democrat can believe that violates what we would otherwise consider a democratic principle if they help us beat fascism, which I am sympathetic to insofar as, yeah, we need
In
to
the
beat
general.
fascism in the general, but like it's kind of crazy to assume or to posit this reality where we just have no. Like the Democratic Party ranges from pro-life to pro-segregation, and that's the only way we can be.
But then it
fascism,
implies that
Like,
there's a standard, right? So is there a standard or not? Because I'm told that there is no standard.
There should be. There should be.
I mean,
No,
Okay,
but I think it's with respect to
of course
different
there's a
things,
reasonable
right? So
standard.
I think that there's a conflation because at the point of general, like I'm just going to go with Hutch. It's really about choosing the lesser of two evils, and so at that point, like it's already cooked, and you just got to do the action. I think that.
So yeah. So
But no, but we're talking about something different.
Who's in
Yeah, but
favor
we're
of anti-black
Well,
violence?
hang on, because the thing is, I don't want to get your invitation to absurdity, which is put everything on the table, the destruction of the universe. I mean, Hutch was saying was giving you one state solution in Palestine, freedom of the Palestinian people. He was throwing in there Medicare for all. So
Yeah,
that
that's
no
why I
matter
didn't
how
wanna
good,
engage.
yeah,
That's why-
I
that's
know
why
you
I
don't
didn't
want to
wanna
engage, but the thing is,
But
I don't want to
did
be.
engage with it. But
No,
I did engage with it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
no,
said-
no,
you
I know,
did
but I am unable to bite that bullet. I can't say that I would suffer the destruction of sentient life on this planet because to vote for like
Sure.
a segregation. It's like
I can
that
say
to
it
me
because-
seems so absurd and ridiculous that I
Yeah.
could never accept
And so,
that, right?
Pisco, this is the difference I'm trying to draw with you, right? So I can just easily say yes to that, right? Because that's not a situation that I'm ever concerned about facing, right? Actually, a pro-segregationist candidate in the Democratic Party, right?
is
like
realistic.
in my lifetime, yeah, that's far more realistic. It's far more realistic.
I don't understand what
Come on,
that's based
but
on.
come on. If we can have an anti-choice candidate, right? Like, is that a possibility? We could have an anti-choice candidate.
Yeah, we have them.
Yes, we have an anti-LGBT rights candidate, right? We can have.
Well, it depends
those,
what you
right?
mean by
Why
that,
can't
but
yeah, sure, depends, right? Can
Who
we
are
have
we
an
talking about?
anti-black candidate? Why wouldn't we have why would that be the one step that we couldn't cross? Why would that, is that the standard, right? People just can't be anti-black.
yeah, but
within the
most people
Democratic Party.
like when you say something like your hypothetical is more or less realistic, I don't understand, like, why do you care that like a hypothetical is more or less realistic? We're talking about your principles,
Of course.
and the reason we're asking these questions presumably is to get an understanding of your principles. And so how realistic the hypothetical, I mean, we're trying to get at what's motivating you. And so you commenting on like, okay, I guess I would never have the opportunity to vote for a segregationist if the other side of the ballot was literally the destruction of all sentient life. I would, I guess, grant you that that's less realistic, but the whole point of the hypotheticals is to suss out like what's motivating you. And I think it's a good transition into Platner.
Yes,
so suppose that Graham Platner actually was like kind of, didn't like Jews that much. Would you vote for him? He said that I think the
No.
Jews that okay. But he's notwithstanding the okay, at least you're consistent on that. I'll grant you
Yeah.
that. I mean,
Yeah, but as I said, with Soypill and I, we had that discussion last week on Wick's panel. I said that as of now, as of the recording, right? Other things can come out. Obviously, I have to change my opinion. But as of now, it seems like that tattoo is discordant, right? Like it doesn't match up to everything else we know about him, right? It seems believable that he didn't understand what that tattoo was. And so it like when he didn't think he was being watched, right? His honest thoughts were he's anti-fascist and a communist and all those other things, right? Like he said all kinds of wild things. He didn't say, like, as far as I know, again, I can be corrected. That I want to put the Jews in ovens or anything like that, right? And so because that it seems to be a mistake, it doesn't actually seem to be reflective of his inner personality. Well, then I can deal with it.
Is it believable to you that he had that tattoo for like, I think 20 years? I don't know when he got it. He's 41 now, I believe. I imagine he was in his 20s when he got it. Is it believable to you that he never made the connection? I understand you and I, we don't have that imagery in our life, but he has it on his chest, sees it every day, and he's more likely to notice it in a movie or TV or someone else pointed out to him.
Yeah.
Do you think it's likely that no one pointed it out to him until just recently at 41 years old or whatever he is?
Sorry.
Do you believe that, Prime?
No. I'm going to answer your question directly. I'm sorry. I was getting, I'm getting DMs. But I'll to answer you directly. I saw an article, and I can see if I can pull it up again. But I did see an article that was showing some evidence to say that he's actually lying about that. That like. He might have known about it previously, and he's just saying, "Oh, I just found out about it, and I'm just covering it up." Right?
Yeah, I think the two pieces of
which
evidence
would be
that aren't corroborated is like the former campaign manager had said that he kind of knew or knew before that he alluded to, and then there was the article that said he had referred to it as my Tottenkopf at one point,
Well,
which is that you must know what it is if you use that name. So,
and when Jen Psaki asked him about it, his campaign manager saying that, he said that's inaccurate. He didn't like push back harshly. But I guess I'm curious, Prime, what are your thoughts on it after looking at all the evidence and reading all the articles? Do you think that he honestly didn't know what that was until just recently?
I know from that the article seemed persuasive. That's persuasive to me, and with what you just said, right? Like, hey, he has his imagery on his chest. You would think he would notice it, like in a popular media. So no, I think he's not being totally honest about like when he learned about that. So,
but you still support him as the Democratic nominee, right? You want him to win. You support him still.
Yeah, because of his policies, all in all, seem better. I think this is a massive mistake for him. I think when we see these PR nightmares, we see especially a novice politicians, right? Like handle them badly all the time. You see people in the field for like decades, like handle it very badly. So I think he's handling this.
Prime, under your notion.
No, one second. I would say that. If I actually forgot what I was going to say. Go ahead.
Under your version of events, someone knowingly lied in current day is knowingly lying and maintained a tattoo, a known Nazi tattoo, for some undefined period of time, and didn't cover it up in that interim, and then lied about it. And your response is, well, overall the policy, and I agree that if we're just doing a cost benefit, like, okay, that's a factor to consider. But isn't the most likely situation is that he liked the Nazi tattoo, correct, and didn't want to get rid of it?
Yeah, but
is that the most likely scenario?
Let me
at the very least, he knew what it was, and he did a cost benefit analysis and said, well, if it hurts some other people or it's a hateful symbol, that's not my problem, I guess, is kind of what he said. Now, what if it was like a pro-Israel symbol that he had accidentally tattooed on his chest? Would you give him a pass on that too?
Of course I would. Why wouldn't I? Of course. Assuming it didn't line up, right? If he was an actual a factual genocidal Zionist. If he was a Zionist,
what if he lied about he knew earlier that it was a pro-Israel, associated with pro-Israel? You'd still give him a pass?
Then the offense there is that the politician lied to me, right? Which is what they do all the time. Certainly Obama did, right? Like politicians lied. Certain Biden did, right? Like politicians lied to their constituents. I don't like it, right? That's a red flag. Like I was saying last week. It's not I'm excusing this, saying, hey, don't pay attention to this, walk away. No, I'm saying integrate this into your calculations for whether you want to support.
Why shouldn't we treat it as a swastika? I imagine that you wouldn't say that about a swastika.
Last thing.
Yeah,
if more comes out,
the anti-Jew
tattoo. I'm not dismissing it at all. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying, hey, integrate it within your calculations, right? And if more comes out, it adds to it, right? At some point, it reaches it's when it's unacceptable. Now, like there's enough outrages that's unacceptable. You can't vote for them. I'm saying this outrage, it's an outrage. right? But for me, because he doesn't seem to be a Nazi, as far as I can tell, right? Then it's just a bad decision making on his part.
Prime,
Right,
And
and
Prime,
that's the
Pisco,
problem.
given
Pisco, can I jump in real quick? I just want to say, because the reason this isn't incongruent with what Prime was just saying is that Prime was saying, I won't vote for someone who is policy-wise pro-segregation, not potentially a secret segregationist. Now, I'm not saying I necessarily agree with the analysis of the tattoos thing. I'm just saying that these
not a
two things are
contradiction.
not
No,
hypocritical. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a contradiction. I'm not saying that there's a contradiction yet, but I'm just trying to suss it out. So, given your view, Prime, which is that he knowingly kept it, at least for some undisclosed period of time, why should, if it were a swastika, you treat it differently, right?
Yes, because I wouldn't believe that he didn't know what a swastika was.
Right. So,
those
given that,
are-
right, but under your lights, right, under your version of events, he knew that it was a Nazi tattoo. So why would you treat it differently? Given that,
That's
so
different.
what
Hold
the
on.
what the
I can draw
swastika
it out.
adds? Well, let me
No,
just say this, and then
Okay.
I'll let you respond. What the swastika adds is no one can reasonably believe he wasn't aware that it was a Nazi tattoo, because the swastika is a known Nazi tattoo. But given that you think he knew at least some point that it was a Nazi tattoo, doesn't that equalize him?
No, it doesn't at all.
Okay.
Not at all, right? Because if he got the Nazi tattoo way back when, right? That means that almost certainly means he's pro-Nazi, right? It pretty much 99% means that he's actually pro-Nazi, even though he never said it, right? Like, there's no way to believe that he didn't understand what that symbol was, and he put it on his body, right? And so I would say he's actually a secret Nazi, toss him, right? But if he made a mistake
I see.
in the past, right, and found out later, but simply didn't rectify that immediately, or
So this
or
is what you're
lied
saying,
about
right?
it,
So what I'm understanding is at the point of application of tattoo, that there's no reasonable doubt as to for the swastika, but there could be at the point of application for the tattoo he has, and
Yeah.
now explaining why he didn't get rid of it is maybe easier to do than why he put it in the first place. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Well, what is
but
is the response about why you didn't get rid of it instantly?
Yeah, but once
No,
someone
I don't
tells
know.
you, "Hey,
You
that's
have
a
to ask
Nazi
them.
tattoo," and you're like, "Yes, it is," then you're accepting that you have a Nazi tattoo on you, which could have
It's
happened
bad.
years ago.
It's
So
a bad
now
thing.
he's accepting, "Hey, I've got a Nazi tattoo on me." Oh well, I guess
I agree.
it is.
I
I mean,
agree.
I
It's
would
a
be
red
horrified if I had some sort of bigoted
I
tattoo
would agree.
on
Me
me.
too. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not
So
saying
is
it's
the
a good thing at
explanation
all.
that he just didn't care that he had a Nazi tattoo, or that it wasn't top of his priority to get rid of
I
it?
have
Like,
no
what is
idea
the
what the explanation is. I don't know the explanation. Like,
I guess the point I'm trying to make
from my
is,
understanding, he's keeping with the story that he only just found out, right?
That's a
So
lie.
I
You
don't
said
know.
you think it's a lie. So then what? So
Yeah,
if he's
and I'm
lying
saying
about that,
but I don't know the actual. But I don't know the actual explanation.
well, if he's lying about it, wouldn't that imply that he doesn't have a good explanation? And if he doesn't have a good
Yeah,
explanation,
probably.
like,
I
should-
agree. It's a bad
then-
thing. Hold on, guys.
I agree that you said it's bad. I agree you said it's bad, but like, I think that you don't want to. It's possible he liked having a Nazi tattoo on his body.
Yeah, it's a possibility, right? I think it's less likely than he. It's less likely that it is a reflective of his policies and his future actions and his beliefs.
Yeah, I guess Pisco. I people I see in chat are being like, "Why are you defending Prime so much?" Well, me and him talked about this for 2 hours, and even though I don't agree with him at the end of that, I still think that Platner should have either stepped down and be replaced by Progressive, or Janet Mills is a better option, because I think this is incredibly bad judgment. And I do think he's at least lying. The idea is, no matter what the story is, whether he lied about it or not or whatever, his policies for decades do not demonstrate that he's a secret Nazi. So I think the risk that Prime is making that he is one is far lower than him actually being sincere in his progressive policies. And while this might be bad judgment, in his calculus, these policies are more worth it than whether or not he's
Did we see in the? Go ahead, Guy.
I just want to say quickly, this hand waving of like it's an Nazi adjacent tattoos, no big deal. In my opinion, as a Jewish person, it kind of normalizes like Nazis in society. Like, well, he got by accident. What's the big deal? It's just a Nazi adjacent tattoo. That's kind of my problem.
Well, wait, IRA again. I'm not really fighting with you guys, but this is now. I'm curious. Would electing a segregationist not normalize segregation?
Well, IRI said he would.
Yeah, I don't think
IRI said that. No, but I think IRI bit the bullet to the extent that he answered the question, which was like he's going to support the Democrat. He's a strong inclination in that sort of direction. Is that he would support the Democrat over the Republican?
Platner.
I mean, he was
Yeah,
in
just
the
like
general. Okay.
he totally raked you over the coals, Soy Pill, for you feeling bad about Jay Jones, and so I think the implication
I'm
of that is
making sure we're all being
IRI.
consistent. I think it is.
You know,
consistent,
he's just observing some negative that's kind of downplaying, what's it called, euphemistically referring to it as a Nazi.
Yeah, this is why I asked Prime if it was an Israel-related tattoo, if he would feel the same way. And to his credit, he said, yes, I would. I would dismiss it as he doesn't hold those beliefs. He just happened to get it, and maybe he was kind of a shithead about not getting it covered up, right, Prime? I mean, that's what you said, right?
Yeah. And to be clear, even if it was like the Star of David or whatever it is, right? Like I would call it a red flag, right? Like this is something I'm going to keep in mind, right? And if there are other things that come out that are distasteful, that are outrageous or whatever, right? That might equal, right, within my calculation, oh, I can't support this person anymore. Just right now, this isn't determinative of that for me.
Okay,
but hold on, let's add, hold on, but I just one question to everyone, right? Like, do we think that Platner is a secret Nazi? That this is proof that he's a secret Nazi? Let's go around, make sure. So basically, you don't think so?
I don't think that it shows that he's a secret Nazi. No.
Okay, IRI.
I don't, but I think it shows he maybe doesn't really care about what people think about Nazis, I guess.
That I think that's fair. All right, Soy Pill.
Yeah, I mean, you know my position. I think he handled this very irresponsibly, and I don't really trust his judgment very much. Yeah.
Hutch.
I don't know, but I think his judgment is horrible, and I don't think that this is a justifiable risk against a woman that has defended that seat 5 times.
On this seat,
and Susan Collins.
No. Oh,
Susan
Collins.
Not Janet
I thought you were talking about. No, sorry, excuse me. All right, fair enough. But going back to our discussions previously, right? How can you complain about my attitude towards Obama's phone call that would incentivize the Democratic push to the center if you're willing to support literally any of the Democrats that do so in any direction, right? What's their incentive to change if they get support no matter what they say or do, right? So let me clean that up, right? So what's the incentive of the Democratic Party to be better if no matter what they get support, right? No matter what they, go ahead.
I don't think that you're going to hear us we complain about Democrats, some of us more than others, I would say, but we complain about Democrats and we target those criticisms. I think that we distinguish different criticisms, and I think that you're absolutely in the right to criticize Democratic leadership. I do all the time. Where I think I felt weird about what you said related to the Obama call, more the Hochul comment that you made, was this is an example of Democratic leadership, or at least more centrist Democratic establishment Democrats, kind of showing an olive branch, and the way in which that was being received was negative. So I am totally good with you guys, with people criticizing Democrats. I think it needs to happen. I think some of the people who are the Democrats should be defined by nothing, and that to me is wild. I think Soy Pill and I have the same opinion there. But when the Democrats seem to be coalition building with left-wing people and candidates who people are excited about, to have that met with contempt, I think that
it's
is
not contempt.
Or at least kind of, it's a kind of haughty arrogance or snarkiness.
I think he was more joking.
Okay,
more joking, Prime. Can I give you that?
Yeah. No, yeah. Okay. Look, again, I think Hochul, I don't like Hochul. I don't particularly love this individual. But I want her to work with Mamdani. I think it'll be a good thing rather than bad thing. If she and if she is a good partner, right? Well, that will raise her raise her my estimations, right? And my calculations, she will be a better candidate. She will have proved herself to be a better a Democratic governor, right? Than otherwise, right? Than working against them. So yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm trying to have fun here, but
I want to challenge you here, Prime. I don't even think Mamdani's a leftist. I think I've heard some criticism from people further left than me say this guy's just a cover for capitalism. He is not a true socialist. He's a democratic socialist at best. And his policies are nothing special. Public-private partnership at grocery stores, free buses. None of this stuff is leftism. So will you support this guy? I mean, I don't think he's even a leftist. So you're just supporting a capitalist Democrat establishment. Damn, what's so different between Mamdani and Joe Manchin? They're both
not much.
right? Fuck Mamdani. That guy sucks. He's a stupid.
No, but no. Make the comparison to Kamala. I mean, other than Israel, put Israel to the side.
Other than the genocide, sure.
But in all seriousness, I mean, do you really disagree, Prime? Come on, you're a true leftist. No, how can you? This guy's not even a real leftist.
Okay, excuse me. Like I think that the Overton window, it really is a beautiful framework for understanding how politics works. Like a true socialists, right? The ones that those lefties would love, right? That person's firmly outside the socialist one, the Overton window, right? And would not get elected. But like this is our remember the term socialism is still a dirty word in politics, right? Even to some people on this panel, I'm sure it's a very dirty word. And so like this is our chance to prove one that like you can be a quote unquote socialist, however you define that, right, and not undermine America, right? Two, that from that area of the leftist spectrum, right, you can have policies that don't like leave cities in ruins, right? And three, right, just to have a friendly, constantly smiling face, right, in front of the camera, right, that's not saying death to America or anything like that, right? Like this is a fantastic opportunity. Yes, there are going to be people, right, within any political coalition who are saying like you're not far enough, right? I certainly do that all the time. As a man, I don't necessarily vote for an individual, right, unless they follow my standards, meaning supporting a genocide. But other than that, right? Sorry, I want to bring it every time. But other than that, yeah, I think it's fine that this guy is farther left than I think most other candidates we had, at least in the modern era, right? And hopefully we can go farther in the future.
But you wouldn't vote for Janet Mills in Maine if she won the primary, correct?
No, I think I would. I don't, to be fair, I don't know enough about Janet Mills's candidacy, right, to have a solid answer for you. But as of now, right, I'm not going to dodge the question. As of now,
takes AIPAC money.
Yes, she's good. It's good to know. But no, lots of the corporate Democrats. The corporate Democrat in my area, I'm almost positive, takes AIPAC money, right? Like they all do. They fucking all do. But if they come out and support, if she's saying she's supportive of the genocide and she would have continued funding, then maybe that changes things. But you can just take AIPAC money and just like not do much of anything. So it depends. It depends.
Hutch, you look like you had a thought. I could see the gears turning. No?
My overall, like, I mean, I just feel like there's a lot of anger in the party right now. And I feel like going back to the Platner thing, I feel like if this guy actually gets more popular as a result, because I saw one poll that showed him actually his popularity went up, but we haven't had any high quality polls in Maine. If you show me a poll tomorrow that he actually gets more popular, then I think we're in like deep shit, because I don't think it's just going to be the voters in Maine that are going to be like throwing their standards just completely out the drain just because they're so pissed at the establishment. So I feel like we're in a very, very precarious situation right now. I hope Platner loses. I really do.
Can I ask you, Prime, a question? I know that we have limited time because you have to get into the Reverie. By the way, everyone should watch Prime on the Reverie at 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah, links in the description, everyone. All of Prime's links.
And yeah, definitely PrimeCayes on Twitch. I think it's PrimeCayes on YouTube as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But I have a question for you. What's the story of tomorrow going to be? What's your prediction?
God, I hate making predictions. I'm no good at them. But it seems from what I'm hearing, when I'm coming down to the grapevine, that like in terms of early voting, like today and like maybe yesterday or whatever, there was a big explosion of like younger individuals coming out. It sounds like it's a lock for Zoran, right? Especially considering like how the primary turned out. Unless, of course, it turns out there's like a submerged like liberal vote that just didn't bother showing up for the primary, and then it got radicalized since then, like with
The
all
Cuomo,
the, you know,
Cuomo Orthodox Jews that never answer polls are going to come out in a massive wave. You'll see.
it's a possibility. I mean, I don't know, right? Like,
Trump endorsed him today.
but
Come
I
on.
think
Oh, yeah, that's true.
it's going to be a grand victory. I think it's going to be a significant victory, and like where those numbers stand will help shape the narrative, right? Like if it's like a blowout, right? If it's to the point where both Cuomo's and Sliwa's vote share couldn't overcome him, right? Like that's the victory that I'm looking for. Oh my God, that's the victory I'm looking for. To say that, like, well, it didn't matter. It didn't like he's squeaked in, right? This is a definitive statement from the New York public that this is the direction they want to go in, and that'll be immensely important, I think, going forward with like how the Democratic Party interacts with Zoran and how like his ability to project
the
his
mandate
message.
question.
The
Whether
mandate
he has a
question.
mandate. Yeah. So you'll be looking very closely at the margin. You don't just care about a victory. You care how much and the extent to which he's able to leverage that for policy concessions from
Indeed.
Albany and then from the rest of the Democratic
You did a much better job stating that than I did. Thank you.
No.
Am I rude for saying I think you're going to cancel Zoran and within 6 months he's going to be canceled?
Leave him alone.
No,
Leave
because
him
here's
alone.
why.
What the
Here's
fuck?
why. Because he's going to have to compromise once he gets in there. He's going to have to work with the city, the legislative body. He's going to have to, move to the center in order to get anything done. He's going to have to work with the state officials. And so I don't know if he's going to achieve as much as he would like to. I'd like to see him succeed, but I feel like unfortunately, he's going to run into some problems. He seems like a shrewd guy, but he's going to have to, compromise. So, I mean, why wouldn't you cancel him within 6 months?
Right. Like, I feel like this is the case. And I feel like this also was the case for Hutch, at least with his early arguments with me, right, during the stream, that like the person you're arguing against is someone on Twitter and not me, right? Like, I don't demand.
No, right?
But let me explain. I don't think you support the Democratic Party. That's why I think you do not support the Democratic Party, right?
I'm not a Democrat, but like I support those who align. No, but that doesn't. No, that's not what you're saying. That's not what you just said, right? So that's a different statement.
Okay.
What you just talked about was like, hey, if this person doesn't deliver perfection, right? Well, then you're going to quote unquote cancel them, right? And that's like a thing that you'll hear on Twitter. That like there was some level of compromise, right? And so we immediately abandoned this individual, right? Like I understand like the mechanics of politics. I understand that he has a list of priorities, right? Let's assume it'd be great if you get 40% of those priorities through, right, by the end of his first term. That'd be fucking fantastic, right? Like their failure is in his future, right? That doesn't mean that I will necessarily abandon him. I'm going to judge his candidacy by his actions.
Wait, I just want to ask a question. I just want to ask, like, what are your thoughts on AOC and Bernie these days?
AOC and Bernie, I think AOC and Bernie, I think currently they're doing an excellent job, making the progressive position, right? Like putting that out there. I think they're doing a great job.
Would you say you generally support
leadership? In general, absolutely, I support them. However, I have criticisms. I absolutely have criticisms of them.
We went back and forth on AOC in our debate.
Yeah, I definitely have criticisms.
This isn't you, PrimeCayes. Mike from PA said Mamdani will lose unless he, does not compromise on Israel. He is not doing that. I think he's going to win tomorrow, and I get to rub it in Mike from PA's face, which will be really, really nice. But guys, we have 10 minutes left. Can we all come together? Can we all come together and say that? Speaking of genocide, guys, JD Vance is going after streamers right now. Okay, is this not awful? This is actually kind of fucking insane. That
Hassan,
the vice president, Hassan Piker, is being called out for Collargate by the vice president, the most online vice president we've ever had. And I am
Destiny too, right?
Yep.
So there's something happened where it was like there was a request made to prosecutors in Florida.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
And that's horrible.
There was.
Yeah. It was after the Charlie Kirk stuff, I think. It's like you got to compartmentalize, because on the one hand, I think Hassan lied about the shot collar, and on the other hand, it is fucking insane that the vice president is talking about streamers and, to Pisco's point, trying to influence like prosecutions because he didn't like their speech. It's just a horrible moment that we find ourselves in.
Prime, did Hassan lie about the shot caller in your opinion?
Oh no.
I
what
have
I
no
wanna
idea.
talk
I don't follow
Okay.
any of the Twitch drama. I assure you.
I was just curious if you had a thought on it. That's all good.
I have no thoughts on what Hassan does. No.
I think he did lie, and I still will defend him against the vice president cracking down on his speech because that is scary to me.
Well, what
I
is
mean,
JD Vance threatening him with?
I don't think
he
JD
didn't-
Vance is specifically threatening him, but I think that this is in tandem with what these hearings coming up that got delayed, right, Hutch? I don't know if they're coming up soon, but the idea that we're asking the CEOs of these media companies and Steam and Discord to answer for what they're hosting and kind of have this like federal oversight in a way that I'm uncomfortable with on what I want to be a little more of a open discourse platform.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to reschedule that hearing, but I guarantee you they're going to show like at least 3 Republicans are going to show like a sizzle reel of Hassan Piker's greatest hits from Twitch over the years. And it's
Cuomo tried it in New
it's-
York.
Yeah. So I called that too, by the way. I was telling my chat, I'm telling you within 3 weeks, Mamdani is going to disavow Hassan. And I thought it was going to be because of the hearing, but then Cuomo did it during the debate. But
he disavowed him on the 9/11 comments, not on the caller game.
No, yeah, I didn't mean that, but yeah.
But no, hey, Prime, I know that we should probably give you some lag time to jump into.
No, I would just start it
You good?
late. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. Yeah.
Other questions I have for you. Do you care about the Democratic referendum in California? Do you care about the outcome of the Virginia, New Jersey governor's races? Give us a window into your amount of care regarding that. Like, are you like watching? I was like, oh my God, yes, the Democrats are winning in the redistricting fight in California, or yes, the Democrats are winning in Virginia. Are those thoughts that go through your mind?
Yes. I don't identify as a Democrat anymore. The Democratic Party has completely and utterly disappointed me too many times. However, like I understand, like I'm not, at least not currently, I haven't yet been convinced to be like a third party guy. I understand that the Democratic Party is currently the best vehicle to get my policy agenda through, right? We just have to take power away from people like IRI and Hutch, right? And that's the fight. And so within, and I'm willing to engage in it. And until that happens, right, there is a range, right, but a range of Democratic candidates and priorities that I will certainly be supporting. And so, like in terms of like the redistricting fight in California, absolutely, yeah, we got to take power. We need to take power. And so let's let's do that. Like through
we being who? You said you're not a Democrat, so who's we?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just using.
He's part of the coalition, Pisco. We can let him in.
Yeah, no. That's no. I mean, it's a fair criticism, but like, it's just like I'm using a common speech pattern that
Got it.
to talk about.
So
like,
Democrats need to take power. Is that what I heard you? So are we substituting Democrats in for we?
We're substituting Democrats for the larger left coalition.
Okay, so the larger left coalition needs to take power, and Democrats are a part of that.
I mean, Democrats are the vehicle for that. I mean, the Democratic organization is a vehicle for that.
So I'm hearing the Democrats need to win.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't why would that. Why be surprised about that?
No, I find that interesting. That
you left out yes or no. Do the Democrats?
The Democrats, the Democrats.
Well, not the Democratic segregationist.
Another way of saying the Democrats need to win is the Democrats should win.
Are you accelerationist at all, Prime, in that you want to see more loss?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was just curious.
No. I mean, I think that idea like tells people that they shouldn't necessarily vote for Trump, right? Because like people on the left, that we should vote for Trump because if we accelerate to fascism, we'll accelerate to the utopia afterwards. No, there just could be just fascism afterwards. Like so, no.
Fair enough. Is there anybody you're excited about? We kind of put it into your mouth that you're excited about Mamdani, but are you like genuinely excited for him, or is there any other candidates out there that you like?
I mean, I am generally excited for Mamdani.
Okay.
There are other candidates. To be fair, to be perfectly honest with you, I haven't followed all the races of this particular midterm. Like Mamdani has been more of my focus.
What about Tallarico? You like Tallarico in Texas?
I don't know who that person is. I'm sorry. I don't know who that is.
Wait, I have one more triggering question to ask you, Prime. One more triggering question. So you think that right, like Kamala Harris supported a genocide, and you're not comfortable in supporting someone who supports genocide. Why are you comfortable supporting someone who supports a genocide?
Support someone who supports genocide. So,
So for
who would
example,
that be?
why would you support AOC who supported someone who supported a genocide?
No, this is where I had my criticisms, right? In terms of soy pillar members, right? Like AOC voted, or she voted president or something, right? Rather than voting against like sending weapons to Israel, right? Like
Well,
that's a big
I know,
fucking...
but she supported Kamala. So why are you comfortable supporting someone who supported someone who supports a genocide?
Yes or no?
because
You understand my question? So I know she doesn't support the genocide.
I understand
But she
your
supports
question.
someone.
I
who
get your
support-
association.
Okay.
Yes, I get your association. I think it shows one, not that she is a Zionist, right? It shows bad judgment, right? And just because a person has shown bad judgment does not necessarily mean I'm going to
to
toss them away.
support someone who supports a genocide? Would you support someone who
Yes,
supports someone who
that-
supports a genocide?
Okay, now I'm losing you. But no,
No. We're right where we want to be. We're right where we want to be. Bernie supported Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris
and Biden.
and Biden. Kamala, by your lights, Kamala Harris supported genocide, and you're comfortable supporting someone who supports genocide.
If their politics isn't supporting genocide.
But their politics involves supporting someone who supports a genocide.
Yeah, and I would say that is a mark against them.
So all it takes is one chain in the just one piece of plausible deniability. Oh, I don't support the policy, but I support someone who supports the policy, and all of a sudden genocide is not a dividing line for you?
Genocide is a dividing line for me.
I guess, Prime, imagine someone more to the left of you saying, how dare you support AOC because she supports a genocide supporter. And like in the same way that you would get on people's case for Kamala, it seems like someone could make the exact same argument for AOC because she's also supporting Kamala, right? Like, where do you draw the line? How many degrees of separation before they're still supporting genocide, if not in big positions of power doing it, right?
I draw the line at actively sending money to sponsor the genocide.
But supporting someone who supports sending money to genocide, that's okay.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Fine.
That's okay. No. Yeah. I'll draw that line and say that's okay. I like also like. There are people in my life, right, who support someone who support AOC, right? So support someone who supports genocide, right? Like, yeah, there are people in my and will I break off contact with them? No. However, if they were instead, right, an active Zionist and supported the genocide directly, then yes, I wouldn't support. I throw them out, right? I wouldn't support them. So, like, yeah, there is a line, yes, and I think it's fair to say, well, maybe that's arbitrary. Fair enough, right? That's where I'm drawing it.
That's where you draw it. Okay.
The standards I'm having. I'm saying we all can have standards, right? It's clear that our standards are quite different. My standards is, hey, don't directly support the genocide, right? To be clear.
Well, then Kamala didn't do that because Kamala didn't. She couldn't have changed the decision-making process there, and she didn't directly send funds there. She wasn't part of the congressional, group that did that,
But her promises, her campaign promises, were that she would continue Biden's.
Oh, got it. That's the directness. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Prime, it's been 9 months since Trump took over. Would you argue that Kamala would have been any better in general and on Israel?
In general, yes. On Israel, possibly not. Let's see how this ceasefire, it's not a peace deal, but ceasefire plays out. But right this second, and I have lots of criticisms of the deal. We can talk about it some other time. But right this second, we have a very tenuous ceasefire that Biden failed to fund. I'm going to answer your question. That Biden failed to deliver completely, right? That apparently was impossible for the U.S. president to actually throw their weight around to accomplish. But then Trump actually did throw his weight around and then did seem to accomplish it. So, but again, we have to see if it even holds.
There was a ceasefire when Biden left.
No, yeah, when Trump was coming in, right, under pushed by or accelerated by his criticism of Israel. I remember that time, right? I remember what was happening there, and Trump came in and said, "Oh, we're gonna end this. We're going to solve Israel Gaza," right? Trump put on that political pressure, and Netanyahu responding to him. Biden, as far as we know, did fucking nothing. Nothing changed, as far as I can tell, under Biden. If you have other information, I'd love to see that. But as far as I can tell, nothing changed under the Biden State Department.
Well, I'm just saying that when Biden left office on January 20th, there was a ceasefire, an active ceasefire.
Yeah, you
And
know
then
that
you're giving Trump credit for getting a
you-
ceasefire 9 months later when we already had it in January. And
Well,
Trump
first of all,
failed to get to phase
and then-
2 and failed to keep it going.
Okay, all right. So
Right.
okay, so here's your options. You can give Biden that ceasefire, right, and say that, well, okay, well, that fell apart in like 2 days. So Biden gave us a worthless deal. Okay, you can do that.
No,
right?
it
Or you
fell
can put this
apart
on
after Trump took over.
So whatever, that deal fell apart. But or you can say that, like, and the obvious thing is that like foreign governments respond to the incoming president because they know that one's the ones in power. Like there's a lame duck, right? And there's no reason to like give any concessions to a lame duck, especially in a war that you're winning, right? There's no reason to give concessions to a lame duck. What you're responding to is a rhetoric of the person who's just about to get in the seat. Is that unreasonable that foreign powers would do that?
Respond
Well,
to
but
the new
that's-
administration in different ways.
No, I'm saying that. Yeah, saying
It's
that like
not unreasonable.
even
But it's a criticism
okay,
of Trump in that case.
1 second. No, hold on. I'm saying, Pisco, that a new government, a foreign government, like takes into account what the incoming regime is wants and needs, right? Because there's
Sure,
a
yeah.
lame duck in office, yeah, right. And so, what it seems to me, looking at the situation, that they were responding to Trump. Trump was the one making statements saying that we're going to end this fight. Like I'm done with it, right? Like end Israel Gaza, end the conflict. And that's what they were responding to, seemingly.
I don't
see
doubt
any
that, like
change under
that.
Biden.
I think Trump was read in, Steve Witkoff was read in, but there just is a ton of reporting that this mattered a lot to the Biden administration. And
Hold on,
I
but what
guess
changed? But what
what
did
do you
they do different? Like what was the change in the State Department? Like what actions were taken? And maybe
I'm not sure.
maybe there
I can
was,
answer that.
but
I
I
can
don't
answer that.
know. Okay, please do.
So the only reason that aid was even allowed into Gaza in the first place was because of the Biden administration. And so like the Israel
The
when
only
the
reason
state-
it was cut off is because of the Biden administration. Go ahead.
so
Wait, why?
there was a
Yeah,
two
because
and
the
a
Biden
half.
administration allowed for it. They didn't put pressure. They allowed Israel.
Wait, hold on.
To
Hold
sorry,
on,
go ahead.
There was a 2.5 month blockade of aid going into Gaza that happened on Trump's watch, not Biden's. Biden, the State Department, they went to Israel in the beginning of that war and they said, "What's your plan for humanitarian aid?" And Israel said, "We're not letting aid into Gaza. Are you kidding me?" And it was the Biden administration that pressured them to do that in the first place. There were brief pauses at times during. I don't know why you're laughing. What are you laughing?
I'm laughing at you because you didn't know. I'm laughing
What
at
are you
you.
laughing
That's
at?
what person
Why?
I'm
Why?
laughing at you, right?
Wait,
Yeah.
what about it? What's
So
funny?
Yeah.
Sure. Don't worry. I'll tell you. Don't worry.
Okay.
Those brief pauses in aid, and then like what little aid that got in. Yes, that was because of the Biden administration's complacency and a willingness to let the Israelis do damn near everything they wanted them to do, right? So yes, the Israelis stopped the trucks at points, right, and other times let them in, or they let in so little aid, right, that the Gazans were practically starving. That happened under the Biden administration. There were long lines of food aid, right, outside of Gaza where the food was rotting. That happened under Biden. And it was so bad. Do you remember the pier, right? Because Israel wasn't letting the aid, the solution from the Biden administration was like, oh, let's, instead of forcing our supposed ally to let in aid here, not to commit a war crime, instead we're going to build a makeshift pier, right? That's going to take us months to complete, to get in a trickle of aid, right? And that pier immediately fell apart. The other option was to drop aid, like a tiny amount of aid from the air and like crush Gazans underneath, right? Those are all plans that happened under Biden instead of actually simply forcing Israel to let in all the necessary aid, right? America under Biden collaborated to kick UNRWA, the best aid organization, right? The most accomplished aid organization in Gaza, out of it, right?
That was the
Biden
longest
administration
pause.
collaborated on doing that.
That was the longest pause, but that did not come close to the pause that happened when Trump was president for nearly 3 months. That was the only time, as far as I'm aware,
I'm not just talking
that
about
international groups declared a potential famine that was coming.
Sorry,
That happened on
they were
Trump's
actually talking
watch.
about. They were talking about before
No.
then. Sorry, they were absolutely talking about
No.
famine before then. 100%.
No, we're talking about
Okay, well, whatever.
the official designation of famine that came from, I don't know if it was UN or if it's another group that did it. That never happened on Biden's watch. That happened on Trump's watch, though.
They were warning of famine for the months and months before. I'm not sure when the first warning of famine was happening. But in any case, famine isn't a black and white, we're in famine, we're not famine. There's literally a scale.
I mean, there is. It is. When we're talking about like
there isn't, because it shows me you don't know it shows me you don't know what you're talking about. There's a scale for famine.
Yes.
Right? There's a scale from, I believe it's from 1 to 5, if I remember correctly, for famine designation. And different parts of Gaza can be in famine and other parts not. Right. And so there's at some point some sort of calculations where you declare the area, quote unquote, in famine. But that doesn't even mean that everyone in there can't get food. Right. It's actually a very complicated calculation there. And they were talking about how areas of Gaza were going into famine before, during the Biden administration.
Anybody can look this up from any of our audiences, and you do that. You can look up if the famine conditions ever reached anywhere close to what happened on Trump's watch during Biden's.
Anywhere close. Yeah. So,
but that was the whole purpose of the question, Prime, was would Biden or Kamala have been better? And I think you just kind of put it in words there. Yeah, it wouldn't have been as close. They would have been at least marginally better, if not more than that, depending on how much
Kamala
were to get to Netanyahu, right?
No, that's not what I said. I don't know how you got that. I thought it was very clear. I don't know if they would have gotten this ceasefire. I don't know. We have 2 ceasefires.
It's important. It's important to know why the ceasefire happened. So there's a couple things contributing to that. Number one, Israel lost a ton of international support in the last year, and then the other reason was they did a military strike in Qatar without telling Donald Trump, and they ended up killing a bunch of innocent people. So that put a bunch of political pressure on them to come to the table and try to get a deal done. This wasn't
political pressure works.
No, but this wasn't the result of the Trump administration in the background, tirelessly working for a ceasefire. That's not what happened.
I'm sorry. Say that last part again. I didn't hear that last part.
This wasn't the ceasefire happening was not a result of Donald Trump and his administration tirelessly pushing for a ceasefire. The political conditions changed for a couple of reasons that put pressure on Netanyahu to put a deal together.
My argument is that the U.S. president, it was always within their power, right? Even under Biden, that they could have cut off aid, they could have conditioned aid,
you can't do that.
and they would absolutely can't. They absolutely have the ability to do that. What are you talking about? Of course they can.
It's the Congress.
Okay, whatever.
The Congress determines whether or not aid goes out. He can't unilaterally stop it. Donald Trump was impeached first
of all, they can unilaterally send aid. They can unilaterally send aid. And Biden was the force within the Democratic Party, right, that pushed for support of Israel during all this. Everyone at the very start of this in 2023 assumed Israel was going to bomb a bit. That's what they do, right? Destroy a bit of buildings, right? And then they would have gotten their get back and things would have went to normal. Biden was in full support of this escalation in the war, right? So Biden put political pressure on the Democratic Party to continue supporting Israel in their time of need.
That's a separate thing. I'm just saying the president
No,
cannot.
that's not a separate thing. That's literally the thing I'm talking about.
The president cannot unilaterally end aid to a country like that. If the
Hold on,
Congress,
but he can.
if the Congress,
I'm
Apparently, the
talking
Supreme
about
Court.
politics.
Apparently, the Supreme Court
Hold on.
disagrees because
if the Congress,
just keeps
yeah,
letting Trump
apparently-
do it.
Apparently, you don't understand politics now.
if
Oh,
the
okay,
Con-
right.
If the
And
Congress appropriates
so,
funds
who
to go
was
to
who was the
Israel,
Congress
he
responding
cannot-
to? Who was the Democratic Party responding to?
Of course, I
Your
never
leader?
said.
Oh,
Bro,
okay.
I
Do
never-
the Democratic Party
Bro,
follow?
I never said that Biden did not support aid for Israel.
Okay.
I'm pushing back against the idea that he could have unilaterally stopped it. That's not how it works.
Oh, okay. Is that what you're saying? Oh, simply you're gonna let. Oh, okay. No. I
Yes.
can work with this. I can work with this. No, I can work
Yes.
with this. Right. Like I think that Biden, right, had a singular responsibility, being the president and the leader of the Democratic Party, right, to put pressure on Israel, right, and his party to create conditions that Israel would not be able to prosecute the war, at least not with American support, right? I think if you're making the argument that due to separation of powers would still need Congress involvement, true, right? But then it says
It
what that
doesn't
says
work,
is still
Hutch. It
Biden do
doesn't
his
work,
part.
Hutch, because Biden was ideologically committed to it. So I mean, it's
No,
not
that's
just
what I'm
the
saying.
separation of
I'm
powers
nitpicking
issue.
one particular part here.
No,
But,
I get it. I get it. But
people talk about like Biden's involvement in Israel, and I agree with you that he was way too friendly with Israel and didn't speak up enough and allowed for conditions to become horrible. I'm totally in agreement with you, but I feel like people just leave out altogether the role of the Republicans in Congress who also were pushing for this aid. I mean, Mike Johnson was the Speaker of the House, and he was.
There's plenty. No, fair enough. I'll give you
Right.
this. No, hon. I'll alter my language. I'll do that. I'll say that there's lots of blame to go around. Fair enough. I think Biden gets lion's share of the blame because he's ideologically, as our friend Pisco, ideologically committed to the project, right? And he pushed his party to continue supporting this conflict, right? Which is how we got to this point in history. That this would have ended. We could have ended this far sooner, like within like November of 2023, if Biden had put on he had done what everyone expected him to do, honestly.
Brian,
right.
who is your leading 2028 candidate right now for
hear
the
it.
Democrats? I have to know. Who's your horse? As of now. You don't have to stick with it, but as of right now, if you had to vote in the 2028 election, who are you casting a vote for, Brian?
Myself.
Myself. No, that's the only one I can trust, honestly. Really.
No, come on, answer it.
Wow.
No,
Come on,
no,
nobody?
No. I'm just like, I don't like prognosticating like this, but like, hold on. I'll answer the question. Sure, because there's no one better, as far as I know, AOC.
Let's go, Brian.
The
Hey,
reluctant
I'll drink to
AOC
that. I'll drink to
vote.
that.
The reluctant AOC.
The reluctant AOC.
But
vote.
it can be enthusiastic. We can change this. I think she has the potential to make an enthusiastic, but right now it's a bit more reluctant.
Damn.
But I honestly have a lot of faith in her, right? I'm being a little hard on her, but I do have faith that she has the political talent, the know-how to attract left and form a coalition with liberals like yourselves.
Based.
Okay. Well, on coalition building, we'll let you go on this, Prime. Tomorrow is voting day for a lot of people. California voters, you got to get out there, vote yes. Virginia voters got to go out there, down ballot Dems. Any other important elections that are definitely going to have some mandates on there, guys, that I'm not thinking of right now? I think Spanberger, yeah.
There's also control of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court.
Okay.
That's
True.
the big thing that's happening. Yeah, we want to keep control of that. Was it the Virginia election with the
Virginia
Governor
Attorney
AG,
Yeah.
and it's also the House of Delegates, I think, too. So it's a trifecta is on the board potentially for Democrats in the Commonwealth.
I'm going to be massively disappointed if it's not like a blue just blowout across the country. That's where I'm at. Thanks.
You know what they say: don't vote once, vote twice.
Hutch, I would like to have.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
you and I we've like run into each other on these different panels. But we've had everyone else in our way. I would like to have a one-on-one conversation with you
Let's do
at
it.
some point in time. Yeah. And so we can work out our differences. Hopefully, do a little coalition building between the two of us.
What kind of DMs did you get there?
Oh no!
What kind of DMs? I don't know what you're talking
Busted.
about. Like,
It's Ogre Boy, isn't it? It's Ogre Boy.
Is it Ogre
1,
Boy?
2,
Ogre
3.
Boy.
Is it Ogre Boy? Is it Ogre
no,
Boy?
I didn't get no. There's no Ogre Boy in my DMs. I can assure you.
All right, check your check like the messages for people you don't know. See if it's there.
there's no.
mean? I don't
One
get
second.
it.
out.
There's a person. No, that was 12 hours ago. Someone named True Talent.
You were looking at some DMs before, and you looked very entertained.
Oh no! Oh no!
No.
No! That was no. I'll
It's
tell you who that
opposite
was.
research.
No. Someone wanted me to send to ask you guys a question. That was Doobie, my main man Doobie. Are you familiar with Doobie?
One of Hutch's,
Yeah.
it's one of Hutch's biggest ops.
Oh really? Oh,
Who is this? I don't know who
I'm
this is.
just joking. I'm
Oh.
joking.
oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
Doobie.
It's a friend of mine. So, but yeah,
He's
I
the
don't know
good
what-
frog
know
guy
what
with
person.
the crown, yeah?
Yeah, he's the frog.
Yeah.
Well, Prime, thank you so much for coming on. I think, guys, do you want to go for 10 more minutes, wrap up here after?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
guys, if you want to check out Prime, his links are in the description, and you have your show. What's it called? The Reverence?
Reverie.
Reverie.
The Reverie. Oh my god.
And yeah,
He's a
so
One
go check
Piece
him
fan.
out. It's Mondays right after our show. So if you're like, dang, I can't get enough of this, you go right. It's back-to-back shows. So
Yeah,
thanks so much for coming on. And sorry,
8 to
I
11
didn't know we'd be
Eastern.
grilling you that hard. I tried to
I
defend
love it.
and moderate,
I love
but
it.
that's how it is. I think
I just want-
you're used to it.
No, I certainly, and I want more of Hutch. I would love,
Oh.
seriously. Hopefully, we can have a
Got
one-on-one
him crawling back
conversation.
for seconds. Let's go.
And have a conversation, and not have anyone like Pisca try to save you. It's okay.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Okay. Thanks for coming on, Brian. We'll talk to you.
Thank
later.
Have a
Prime.
good one. I don't.
Well, that was fun. So I know our plan was to bring on more progressives. Do you think that'll happen every time, or
Probably.
I hope I wasn't stepping on your guys' feet too much. I felt like I needed to not let it become the everyone beat up Prime show.
No,
but-
you have somebody that is what's his name? Ryan Getty. You know him, right?
Yeah.
He's pretty progressive, right?
Ryan's pretty progressive. He's really smart too. I love Ryan. He's a cool guy, and he's deceptively tall too. I don't know if you got that.
Is
from
he?
his vid,
No,
but
no.
He mentioned you watched his vid on stream. He was very happy about it.
Yeah,
But
it's
what
great.
about Ryan?
Well, no, I asked him if he wanted to come on at some point, and he seems pretty progressive.
Ryan that won't be a shouting match for sure. Yeah, let's have
No.
Ryan on.
Yeah. Well, that was my point. It doesn't have to be a shouting match. Just the person that we're speaking to has to have coherent arguments and morals. That's all.
Hutch, before you came on, I was like, look, I'm pretty sure Hutch is going to press you a lot, and I'll try to step in. And by the end of it, it's like a 3.5, a 4v1. And I'm like, oh no, what have I done? So
You could ask me the
come
most, literally, I said on my stream 4 days ago, if it was if it was Hunter Biden running for president and we discovered that QAnon was real and he was eating babies, but
No, yeah.
we were going to get single payer, I would vote for Hunter Biden, and I would encourage people to vote for Hunter Biden.
In our Prime debate, I said if Joe Biden personally broke into my house and sexually assaulted my whole family, I would still vote for him over Trump. It's a extreme example, but you gotta, Hutch, would you vote for Joe Biden if he wanted to pass a law that said every American gets to razor blade your skull and then spit lemon juice into it every day for the rest of the next 4 years?
I don't know. What do the Congress people say?
Oh, the Congress people are going to pass Medicare for all.
No, but are they going to pass the cut my head with a razor thing?
It's happening. It's 100% happening.
All of a sudden, no, I think. I mean,
Wow, that's selfish. That's
Yeah.
really selfish, Hutch.
well, I mean, it sounds awful.
But I
It's
don't
really
think
up-
Prime was bummed about that at all. I think leftists want to come into the lib lion's
Yeah.
den and tussle. I think that they would live for that. So I wouldn't worry
Yeah.
about the
No,
3
clearly.
or 4v1.
Yeah. I was worried at first. I was more worried about maybe I should have let it happen more, if anything, because I was jumping in between you guys. But yeah, clearly he wanted more of that. So next time I'll step behind. I'll pile on. Let's pile.
I don't understand. I mean, the whole thing where you vote for a guy who's a segregationist, but you're going to get socialism and he's going to be murdered right afterwards. And he's I don't understand. That does not fit.
He's not a
to be fair,
consequentialist. He
to be
doesn't
fair,
vote based on
Hutch,
consequence.
Wait, you didn't add that last part. I think if you
You're-
told him the guillotine comes after the election.
No, I
maybe
did.
would've
And
been
No,
I
no,
was
he did. He
doing-
did.
I was
did?
doing a
Okay.
one-state solution for Palestine, and so I don't understand that.
Hutch, he'll accept it if it's the end of the universe as we know it, and every single puppy has been suffering ultimate pain. He just doesn't vote based on consequences. So you can put anything you want. I've tried this. I've tried putting the most grotesque stuff on the table, or the most tantalizing policy or personal outcome, and he just won't shift. He just doesn't want to vote for people who don't meet that threshold.
No, I
regardless
get
of
it.
how
I
it
just-
leaves the universe.
I just that'll never make sense to me. It's not going to compute in my head ever.
Yeah, I think it's a little harder when you like see the consequences of like a segregationist or like people have lived through that. Like just on principle, it feels wrong. It's almost like this like visceral disgust for it. But like it's very easy for people. I'm not trying to like, oh, you're so privileged, Dutch, but like, yeah, when you can kind of remove yourself from some of the consequences, it's easier to engage with the hypothetical than to like try to think about the reality of how that would play out and not just in
I don't know,
isolation.
but I feel like isn't it privileged to remove yourself from the consequences of allowing Republicans to keep
Yes,
power?
yes,
I mean, that
in
feels
certain
like
ways, yes.
ultimately privileged. You know,
Yes,
this
exactly.
this style of politics was just the norm for decades, and it's really only been in like the last like 20, 30 years that we really drifted away from that, and I don't think it's produced good results. Do you guys? I mean, I just feel like this is not like a functional way to do politics. It's just going to be.
I actually, well, I might disagree a little bit because I think we've gotten more progressive on our side, and it pushed Biden. You know, Bernie's success pushed Biden further to the left, and I support progressive policy, and I want to see bigger things. I know you do too, Hutch. So I don't know. I mean, in some ways, I think it might be working to some degree.
But you're not going to get the kind of progressive policy that I think people want, like the big bold stuff. Like Pisco really wants like big bold stuff, and I think so. I mean, all of us do, right? But like you're really focused on that, and it's like, you know, you look at the map and it's like, I don't know. We should probably talk about the filibuster here. Like, to be honest with you.
Oh,
that's really
shit.
Oh,
This
I
is
can't
gonna be
believe we
awkward.
almost missed that. Yeah.
Yeah, we almost missed that. But I just want to say I don't agree with Prime on like the big stuff. Though. Like Prime said he wanted to cordon off Wall Street so that and like I don't know barricade it or some shit. Yeah, like yeah, I'm like so in favor of New York not doing that and us being the center of like finance and commerce and all that shit. And so if Mamdani starts like I don't know seizing the stock exchange, I'm sure I'll be
like
protesting
Bane,
against it.
like Bane in the Dark Knight Rises.
I'll be right with the MAGA people, like chanting down against that.
Is he on the like the Rothschild like shoulder? Like, do you feel in shock?
So can I say about the filibuster?
Yes,
I want to say
I
told you, Pisco. Chuck Schumer might actually be responsible for getting rid of the filibuster because of his choice to not fight in March and to fight now. Look at Donald Trump is out there saying, let's go get rid of the filibuster. I don't think we have the votes on our side to do it because of the Chris Coons and the Mark Warners of the world. So they might actually get rid of the filibuster. So Chuck might actually be brilliant in the end.
I want to push back here and say that this is the 5th time that Trump has called for the filibuster to be scrapped. And both Johnson and Thune have both like publicly said, like, we're not going to do that. Now that might change. Like he might actually start putting like real pressure. He never really did that before. It's not the same thing as like some of the other things that he's pushed for. But if he starts throwing his like full like muscle behind it, then maybe this time it'll be different. But this is not the first time he's done it. They do not look like they want to do this. Like Thune and Collins or Johnson, sorry.
Right now.
They're not like presenting like they want to do this at all.
Why do you guys think they don't? Because I don't know if this is me being doomerist or alarmist, but it seems to me the reason they don't is because they still believe there's a chance that Democrats can take significant power back. It's not over. It's not Jover, as they say. The elections still matter.
Yeah.
We will still have midterms. We may have a blue wave. Obviously, we're hoping for big blue tomorrow. I think they're thinking there's not enough going to be voter suppression in 2026. And they're like, we cannot let them have this if they get the majority. Yeah.
It preserves their power as a body and individually. The more difficult it is to get a winning margin, one, it's less punctuated criticism and pressure that can be applied to any individual member of Congress because the margin, if it's like 12, and there's more power in numbers, and so it's harder to individualize one person and apply pressure to them. And every particular member is more important. In that respect. So I think that they're trying to preserve their individual power. And then the Republicans in general, were they to get rid of the filibuster, they don't have like big ideas on healthcare. Like what are their big ideas that they want to, like all their big ideas that we can think about are unpopular. Nationwide abortion ban, nationwide, I don't know, get rid of Obamacare. So
that's not stopped them from, sorry, go ahead.
The procedural limitation of the filibuster prevents and this feeling of weakness. Oh, we can't do it. Oh, we can't do it. Oh, we can't do it is a crutch for them because they know if they were to try to enact their agenda, it would be a huge pushback.
Yep. They'd have to present real solutions and they don't have any. And so they would lose and Democrats would win.
I mean, they do unpopular policy already. So like the fact that the policies would be unpopular, I don't know if that really makes a huge difference, but I mean, obviously they'd be more.
They do it unilaterally and on things like taxes where it's a little bit less, they can try to sell a tax cut. They can try to sell like defunding stuff. It's a little more opaque how that is, but it's harder to hide. Like Obamacare was hard to hide, and that was a rallying cry for the Republicans. Now, ultimately, it became a very popular situation. But the kind of legislation that for which the filibuster is a sticking point, that's the stuff I think that in general is harder to hide. Raising the minimum wage, making new expansive bureaucracies. These are things that I think are tougher. And it's easier. Like, yeah, Trump is on his island. He's doing what he wants unilaterally and unpopularly, but he's kind of a beast in and of himself. I think the Senate Republicans are more worried about their own races, and it's giving more power to Trump in this exchange. I don't think that would be true if the Democrats got rid of the filibuster. That's why I think that the incentive structures are very different. Also, to respond to you, IRI, I don't think that it's likely that they're going to get rid of the filibuster because of the incentives that we're talking about. And also, I don't know why that dynamic is different between March and now. Like, if they're going to get rid of the filibuster, surely it would also happen in March versus now. So I just don't see a discontinuity there or a symmetry breaker.
Yeah, go ahead, Ari.
Well, I'm not sure Snap would have run out of money in March. I don't know the intricacies of that. I don't know. Also, the insurance premiums coming up for renewal and all that. The notices going out, the timing of all that. But I agree with you 100% that the filibuster is just used by crutch by the Republicans. And this should make people out there feel better about the future, that Republicans think there's a very, very real chance they will not be in power in the future. So that should make people feel better.
The other thing that we should unpack here is like if and I don't think they will either. I agree with you, Pisco. I don't think they'll get rid of the filibuster. But if they did, I actually think that would be insanely ideal for the Democrats, because they would inherit that situation. If the Democrats were the one to get rid of the filibuster, they would have been punished by voters for overreach. I mean, this happens literally every single presidency.
I just don't know why that's your intuition, Hutch. Like, do they
wait, hold on. Let me finish. Like, this is a thing. Every single modern president, like for the last several decades, at some point, the public perceives the administration and the incumbent party as doing overreach, and then they punish them. So if the Democrats are the ones to inherit the filibuster, they don't need to worry about that at all. They can just start doing stuff. Now, the voters might punish them for overreach if they do expansive legislation or whatever. That seems likely to happen, but this is ideal. And we would get let's say we get a trifecta in 2028. We would get 2 full years without a filibuster. The Republicans only get the next year, and they're already on the back foot. They have no political capital right now. I don't know if you've seen Donald Trump's numbers. They keep going down. It's bad.
That's great to see.
You're more informed than me, Hutch, but like, do voters know what a filibuster is? Like,
that's what I mean.
Really
like,
no.
Isn't this the opposite lesson from abundance? Isn't the opposite lesson from abundance like the proceduralism isn't as important, and what matters are the results? Like, I don't think that anyone is running a successful campaign based on filibuster reform.
I didn't say anything about campaign.
Or that there's a negative.
What
is that? Where is the precedent for a party being punished for these kind of procedures? Like, the Republicans weren't punished severely for their overreach with respect to the Supreme Court justices and failing to go the precedent stuff. I just don't feel that there's this knowledge and care.
They were out of power.
But in general, my intuition is that people don't really give a fuck about procedure, and they don't pay attention to it. That's my assumption.
I looked this up, and it's somewhere like 60 to 70. I think it was only like 20% of the country felt confident that they could like detail what a filibuster is, and then 40% that said that they kind of know what it is. I don't know what that means. I would assume that a lot of those people actually don't know what it is. So like, I don't know what
they don't know shit. They don't know shit, bro. They don't even know about the Electoral College.
To your point, though, I think you're right. Like, I don't think Americans, for the most part, think about like Senate procedure. That's not something that really motivates them to go to the polls. However, it becomes a front page story as soon as the party takes over, the president is sworn in, the Congress is sworn in, and then, first thing they do is end the filibuster. That will become like national news. The entire right-wing media apparatus, they will pounce on that. They will coordinate. They will just relentlessly hammer Democrats. That would take away some of their political capital, some of their leverage to do legislation. They would be getting angry calls from their constituents. That's how this works. Like, political capital, when we talk about like the importance of like approval rating, if you have a low approval rating, you're going to be getting angry calls from your constituents. You're going to be having pressure applied in that kind of way. Plus, from other sources as well. And like, that matters. All that matters.
Hutch, on the flip side of what IRI said, because I agree with your assessment of like how that would hurt them. IRI agree. Look, we should be optimistic that they are afraid that this could be used against them. If they did end the filibuster, would that not kind of be doomsaying of they don't care about what you just said would happen? They're like, hey, we're going to get around that somehow. Like, they have that same assessment that you do, but they're like, we don't need to worry about that because maybe some bullshit they're going to be polling in 2020.
Man, I mean, I think you could explain that more just by, Donald Trump like put serious pressure on them. That would be more likely if they got rid of the filibuster. That would be the likely culprit instead of them, secretly plotting to end
them as more damaging than the consequences of the filibuster. Yeah, maybe. I hope so. I'm genuinely scared that if they do get rid of it, it's because they're like, we're pretty confident something's fishy's going to go up in 26. But
I don't think that they're worried about Democrats. They're worried about Trump and internal pressures on the Republicans. If they were I think that it's priced in that if the Democrats have like a 2-3 seat majority in the Senate, I think there'll be enough pressure for them to get rid of the filibuster. And so I think the Republicans are more worried internally. I don't think that they're that worried about them. What's that?
Well, but we have moderate Democrats. We have independents like Angus King and Chris Coons. You think these people will vote for getting rid of the filibuster?
Yeah, I think the whip count was the Democrats were down like 2-3 votes in the Senate when it was considered.
But I think that was for like codifying abortion or like Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, but once you cut it out for one law, it's like, all right, where does this end? It's like,
well,
yeah. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I need to ask Pisco this because maybe you guys know. I feel ignorant on this because as a more tuned in person, I still keep having to look up the filibuster every like 2 or 3 years once it comes to conversation. To my understanding, the level to which they've eliminated it in the past was not for all bills. They did it for confirmations, right, of certain people, and during the Republican majority,
it's just for judicial stuff.
Yeah, for judicial stuff. They've never done it for bills.
They've expanded that.
Well, and they've expanded it, and now they're doing like bulk nomination confirmations and shit.
Yeah.
Does anyone give a fuck about that? No one gives a fuck about these procedures. What they care about is the results. And so I don't think that we should be working on that premise.
So support for the filibuster just broadly has been just eroding over time. However, there are a handful of Democrats and Republicans who are institutionalists who like genuinely believe that the filibuster is a good idea to prevent volatile swings. Now, how principled are they in the face of like a serious pressure campaign from Donald Trump? We'll see if he does that. But that is true. You can find like a lot of like Fetterman is for sure like principally.
I just think that it's a stupid principle because the Constitution already provides for those checks on like on people like moving too fast. Like the Constitution already has a sluggish process for legislation. We have 2 chambers of Congress and needs to go through the presidency. If the president like vetoes it, then we need to have like 2/3 majorities in each house of Congress. So it's already a sluggish process. And so this whole the filibuster thing is an extra constitution. It's not found in the Constitution. And so I just disagree with the notion that we need to provide like extra restrictions in Congress when the Constitution doesn't provide for them.
I'm not arguing against that. I'm not arguing against the filibuster. Like I'm like 60-40 in favor of getting rid of it. It's like tepid support just because there are ways that it could backfire.
Not
like I'm glad
51-49 in favor of getting rid of it.
Well, I also want to say that as Pisco pointed out, like majorities would be pretty slim no matter who's moving forward. And I'm not sure the Republicans would even have the votes if they got rid of the filibuster to pass some of their worst stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Not right now. Maybe at the start of the term when the approval rating was way higher. He was like above 50% back then.
Yeah.
Well, if he was putting pressure on them to end it, he probably put pressure on them to pass the legislation, right? Like that same force is going to be there.
They've got to win. They've got to win re-election. They're going to be around after Trump's gone, and so I think they're kind of looking out for their future too.
Well, speaking of Trump being gone, did you guys see the auto pen adjacent scandal where he doesn't even know the people he's pardoning?
I don't really think it's.
I never want to hear
like. Yeah, just go ahead. Sorry. All right.
I never want to hear Republicans say that Biden was clueless and auto pen pardoned people without his knowledge after that 60 Minutes interview where Trump said he had no idea who the guy was that he pardoned who founded Binance.
That's true. That was
what I want to say is like, I don't have a problem in principle with the president like knowing in general the kinds of people that he's pardoning and for what. So like, if it made sense, and obviously it was deplorable to pardon like all the Jan 6ers. Like if that made sense, I wouldn't be like, oh, he needs to know the name of every particular person. But this was like not one of those situations where it's like some event that a bunch of people, normal people, who knows who the fuck is, or like dozens of people. This is like a like a newsworthy event. This guy affiliated with Binance. And so it, I think, is shameless that he would be like, oh, I don't know who the fuck it is.
And he hosts Trump and Melania coin, right?
Yeah.
That's on his site. No.
Well, his company like bought, was it $4 billion, $2 billion worth of Trump coin, propping it up.
Someone in chat said, sorry, this is, I don't mean to get stunlocked here, but it applies to what we're talking about. They said the Jokai, whatever that is. I think what makes Hutch so frustrating concerning popular versus unpopular stuff is that Republicans have such incredible control over the narrative that it feels like it all doesn't matter. Okay, so there's this thing in politics called the Green Lantern theory of politics.
Oh my God, I was going to ask you to explain this. Thank God.
I'm just playing. No, but this is like reverse Green Lantern. Like they are not in control of the narrative right now. Like people need to dispel with the notion that Donald Trump is like strong and the Republican Party are strong right now. And please God, like I'm just waiting for the results tomorrow because if it's a fucking blowout, then we can finally point to something and say they do not have control right now. They are very, very, very weakened. But they are struggling as a party right now. And all of them are wondering, what the fuck are we going to do after Trump? They're all thinking that right now. They are not in their heads thinking like, oh, we're fucking impervious. We're untouchable.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking for Kamala won by about 6% in Virginia and New Jersey in November. So if the margin is larger than that, then we're cooking something special. Double digits, we're on fire.
Yeah.
We'll
let's
see.
pray
We
and hope.
need to win first.
Everyone needs to
so,
go out
yeah.
and vote. Wait, do
Get
we have
out there and vote, folks.
quick time, Hutch? What is the Green Lantern theory of politics? Because your chatbot's posting it and I can't click on it. I need to know.
I'll link it to you. It's just
Okay, yeah, you can
it's
explain
the
that.
idea that like basically like the president can do anything if they have the sufficient will and strength and charisma. And then there's like reverse Green Lantern theory where like, you know, when you're out of power, you make claims like, well, look at Donald Trump. He's controlling everything. And it's like, what are you talking about? He's underwater on everything. The Republicans are underwater on the economy for the first time in like literally decades. They're,
do you know who coined the theory?
Oh God.
I'm not sure. You might
Like a wild guess. Because I thought Hutch invented it. I thought this was
Wait, did you see
Derek
Bernie?
Thompson?
Did you see Bernie is abundance spelled?
Oh yeah? Hell yeah. Well, you just kind of gave it away,
see it.
but it's Ezra Klein's Green Lantern theory of politics. I didn't know that too. That's okay.
I can't tell.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. He wrote the
okay.
article. But
If
no,
you're
I'm
interested, I'll talk about it for like an hour. I'm fascinated with it.
Maybe 20 on Ezra. But yeah, we should talk about it actually. I'm interested.
Right after your one-on-one discussion session with Primo,
where you guys can't back me up and save me.
Yeah.
what did you think about that little?
I was the only one trying to save, and it wasn't you, Hutch. Yeah.
You did try to save him like 3 times. You did it like 3 times in a row. You're like, I think what he's trying to say. You did that like 3 times, bro.
Yeah, and guys, if you need me to shut up as the quasi moderator of this, you're allowed to tell
No,
me.
don't. Wait, no, this is stupid, Hutch. I mean, like this is like the complaint from the Vanguard conversation. Not to bring it back, but like there is a place for someone to be like, hang on. So I think, and to kind of play the good cop, and you don't take an issue with Soypil doing that. I think that's totally fair and above board.
Well, to be fair, I'm
needed.
being the one servile about it, Pisco. But also, I spent 2 hours kind of arguing with PrimeCayes last week, so I felt the need to be like, well, I kind of get what you're saying here, you know. So.
I love how unhinged you get. The register of your voice gets like unbearably high.
Yeah.
I think it's funny how Hutch has turned into like the liberal raid boss that all the leftists want to take on. And I know Hutch is loving it. He's enjoying it. So.
I'm not. To be honest with you, I'm not. I'm actually not. It's like
you're their boogeyman, dude. They see you in their nightmares.
I just want Democrats. I just want Democrats to win. That's it. That's like I just want Democrats to win. Like I have secondary priorities that are like policy and the party brand or whatever. But like right now, I just feel like the urgency is so fucking high. I just want Democrats to win elections. That's my entire politics.
And that's why we're running pro-segregationist Democrats in every state. Me and Hutch are forming new parties. In fact,
we have to have pro-slavery Democrats. Sorry. Hey,
he thought I wouldn't take that bait. He was wrong.
Let's go.
Sign me up. Reanimated corpse of 1980 Strom Thurmond. I'm voting for him if he's a Democrat. Literally. I'm not kidding. It's not a joke.
Hutch, what days are you defending slavery this week? What's going on in your stream?
Tuesday through Friday, and then on Sunday the stream starts at 11:30 a.m. Eastern and 8:30 a.m. Pacific.
All right, right on. Pisco?
Yeah, I think I might be doing a reaction tomorrow to the election, or if I get nervous enough, I might do that privately because let me tell you, election 2024, I was just refreshing, and I was not fun. So
you want to co-stream? We can all share our anxieties together.
DM me, yeah, DM me. But no, that and I've been like super fucking busy. Everything's great. But more streams come in, more stuff come in. Love you guys.
Right on. IRI.
I'll be shoutcasting the results tomorrow night. I've got nothing to hide, man. Win or lose, we're gonna do it live. But I'm very optimistic about tomorrow night. The early results look great. If anybody's curious, you can go check out this YouTube channel called Voting Trend. I think it is Dave who runs it. He's been breaking down all the results, and he's super optimistic comparing the 2024 early voting to the to this year. That being said, on Wednesday, I'm going to Europe. I'm going to be performing with my side gig on Saturday night in Paris. Largest indoor arena in all of Europe, so that should be
Awesome.
But you're going on Jubilee soon, right? Really soon, right?
I was gonna go on it next week. It was gonna be a Jubilee All Stars versus some mega conservative, but they canceled it due to some
Okay, I don't know if
schedule
I'm allowed to
conflict. So
say, the
yeah, it's gonna happen eventually. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I don't know who that conservative could be. I have no clue.
Okay, but there is. I know there's a big Jubilee coming up this weekend. I guess you're not doing that one, and that's against.
No, I'm not doing that one.
A certain. Well, I'm not. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. It might be any. Okay, but okay, you will do the one in the future. Cool. Anyway, my video's
What are
coming
you
out
up
this
to?
week.
Soy Pill?
My video's coming out this week. I'm contractually obligated to release it, so my Charlie Kirk video with all my hot Charlie Kirk takes.
Hell yeah.
Is coming out, and let's see if I get demonetized. And then I'm debating TikTok stuff Wednesday. I've gotten into it thanks to Unfuck America IRI. It's I think I've got one strike. Let's see how many more I can get. And if you've seen the mustache, it's not just a style, guys. It's Movember. It's prostate month, prostate cancer awareness month. So does everyone Hutch, you gooned? You jizzed today? You have a healthy prostate?
Huh?
No, I'm doing a masturbation fast because I've been fucking
Absolutely not.
burning
No
the
Nut
candle at
November
both
is part of
ends the last
big
couple weeks.
cancer. It's a big cancer psyop. You need to nut. It's part of a healthy prostate. And I don't know if you guys know this. Scott Adams.
No, I wanted to talk about this so
Dilbert,
bad.
Yeah, Dilbert creator and prolific racist has prostate cancer, but this is just tell you that good people can also get prostate cancer, not just Scott Adams. So,
well, Joe Biden
Isn't
has
it
it
the
too.
opposite? You're not supposed to for the month of November. Isn't that what it is?
if you want to get cancer.
He's saying
No,
don't do the no nut because it's bad.
This
You
is
need to release-
Movember. You're thinking of No Nut November, which is a psyop
Yeah.
from big cancer to let
Different
you
things,
get cancer.
Oh,
Wait,
I didn't know
just
that.
one thing.
Prostate cancer is bad, and you should jizz more.
One thing on the Scott Adams stuff. So Scott Adams, I do hope he recovers. I mean, that's horrible. I hate cancer. It's a bad taste in my mouth, though, that because you're friends with the president, because you're politically connected, at a time when so many Americans are having the access to healthcare being reduced significantly, that all it takes is a tweet from Scott Adams, and immediately RFK Jr. jumps in and messages the President of the United States to make so that his provider is giving him the experimental treatment that he wants. Like, that is, I think, a prime example of people who are connected, politically connected, getting access because of their political connections, because of their speech, to, crazy good results or crazy good access to different treatments just because of that, while Americans are literally being fucked over by this government at this time. And so that, to me, it kind of makes me sick. I mean, I do hope that he gets better. I hope he gets the treatment he needs, but I hope that everyone gets more access to healthcare. And I just think that it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
He's also been listening to Kooks and taking fucking ivermectin. So,
what 8-year-old kid lost their spot on the list to move him up? I wonder.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, guys, this is going to be part of my Charlie Kirk video, and maybe you guys can all shit on me. Maybe it's Dogpile, the soy pill time, Dogpile Niels. But what if I don't want him to get better? Is that bad?
Yeah.
No. I mean, listen, you don't have to like cheer on shitty people. You know what I mean? Like, you can just be like, sucks for him. Yep. You know what I mean?
I'll say, look, fuck cancer most of the time. That's what I'll say.
Oh my goodness.
All right, guys,
well,
this is Live and Learn. Thanks so much for tuning in. You guys know everyone here. They've all given you your schedules. Go check them out. They're all doing stuff this week. Please go support and vote tomorrow. For fuck's sake, go out and vote. I already early voted several hundred times. And you need to do it too.
Well, not multiple
tomorrow.
times, but I did.
No, just vote once. Don't do voter fraud, guys. I'm joking.
Stay cool.
Cheers, guys.
All right.
Later.
Later, dudes.
Bye-bye.
Toodaloo.
Bye.